Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out, procrastination, putting it off, kicking the can down the road. In, plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out, carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In, knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Verdigre, Nebraska, a rural farm is the setting for a twisted tale involving sex, lies, cold-blooded murder, and a pig named Arthur. When the dust settles, the only possible remaining question is, why? Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us this week. We are excited. We have a crazy, just a wacky... Whenever we're on a farm, things are always crazy. It's Rouleau, Phillips. It's always a nutty thing whenever the farm is anywhere in our story, and that happens today, so that's wild. Hope
like
you
the Orwell book, right?
Animal Farm.
It's always wild.
This is if this happened in Animal Farm, it would have been even weirder. Would have made the shit even weirder. But hope you enjoyed last week, South Carolina. That was just wacky. That guy put in prison for no reason while he mourns his wife's death, and then turns out it's a serial killer. So listen to that if you haven't heard it, because that's a really wild tale there.
Serial killer with a conscience.
Sort of.
Feels bad for somebody.
Either a conscience or an ego. We didn't get to figure that out. Did he want the credit or did he feel bad?
Right.
We're not sure yet. But either way, very quickly before we get started, because we have a thick show for you before you today. Thank you for your reviews this week. If you haven't yet, that purple icon, Apple Podcasts, they really help us a lot. It helps drive us up the charts. We have no earthly idea why, but it really helps drive you up the charts. So give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say, but help us out on that end. Also, if you want to help out even more, go to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything crime and sports and small town murder related.
Right.
And crime and sports. The last few, if you're looking for a place to start.
Boy, am I having fun with it.
It is wild, man. You got to check it out. Just crazy stories. The sports they don't matter at all. Minimal sports, lots of craziness. So check these stories out and you can start there and then go back to the beginning so you can hear the character development and things like that. Check all that out. Get your merchandise, new stuff up all the time. And of course, your tickets to live shows if they ever take place. If they ever happen, you will have tickets to them, and we'll be so happy to see you once we finally get to them.
The Joy
Theater
in New Orleans was scheduled for January 15th, 2020, so I hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Hope you enjoyed.
We had a great time, too.
They rescheduled it for, so that'll work itself out. Don't worry. It's all, if you have tickets.
2021. Don't worry about it.
If you have tickets, they'll work when they actually happen. So do that. Check that out. Listen to Crime and Sports. Listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie every Friday, where we talk about bad romantic comedies, and I go on rants about hating my life having to watch these fucking movies. There's all of that, but all that aside, I think it's time for the. Oh no, wait, we got to do the.
What if they can be a bigger hero?
You want to be a bigger hero, and this is even. You get something very cool too. You can be a Patreon sponsor here, and that will make you a producer. Jimmy will just destroy your name at the end of the show. He'll ruin your name trying to mispronounce it, and then also you will get access to all the bonus material. And there's so much bonus material. We have a ton. This week's show. This week's bonus material is weird small towns, and not we had a weird small town festivals. These are actual small towns that are super weird.
They just exist.
One is a town only for pedophiles.
Wait, what?
It's a sex offender town. It's a real town only for sex offenders. Trust me, that's one of them.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a crazy one, and you get access to all the crime and sports ones as well. We did the WWE/F back in the day Ring Boy scandal, which is just as gross as it sounds, on Monday for crime and sports bonus, so you can hear that as well.
Yeah.
There's no sports in that. It's just a weird, gross story. So that said, you can do all of that at patreon.com/crime and sports, and that would make you a wonderful person with access to all that stuff. And if you just want to be a good person and get some nice karma in your system and say, hey, good show, you can do that over at PayPal. Use your email address, or our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com to do that. That said, disclaimer quickly. Comedy show. This is a comedy show.
It is.
So there's going to be jokes. The story's real. We promise. As crazy as they are, we don't make any of it up. This is all real, but there's going to be jokes involved because we can't help it. We're comedians. And not to mention, around a murder, there is tons of stuff that is not murder, that is crazy, that is just funny, objectively, and we're going to find it and we're going to tell you about it. If that sounds good to you, awesome. Because what we try not to do, we go out of our way not to do, is we try not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
Hey,
there we go. So you don't think true crime and comedy ever go together for any reason whatsoever. This probably isn't for you. So either see you later now or don't complain later.
Right.
One of the two. But for the rest of you, want to have a good time, let's do this. I think it's time to sit back and shout, shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmy.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, shall we? Oh, let's do it. Let's go. We're going from South Carolina to Nebraska. Oh, boy.
Jesus.
Yeah. Jimmy's like, I
was excited.
I saw his mental Rolodex spinning, looking for where is that again? Oh, yeah, right in the middle. Okay.
Is it near Kansas?
Is it
above
there.
It?
It's above Kansas, below South Dakota.
Got it.
Wedged in there next to Iowa and everything. So we are in Verdigre, Verdigre, Nebraska.
That's weird.
It's a weird little town. Yeah. It's in northeastern Nebraska. It's right near the South Dakota border, and that's the only thing it's near because there is nothing near this town.
Awesome.
When you look at it on the Google map, it's like this town and
nothing.
There's another town sort of near it, and it's even smaller than this one. It's just these little specks of a little road with a feed shop and then a bunch of farms on the outside.
Dude, it's like South Utah.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's a very weird thing. Just middle of nowhere. It's about 3 hours to Omaha if you want to go there for some reason. Not much to look at, but about an hour 45 to Sioux City, Iowa, if you want to really party down, I guess, over there. And 3 hours and 20 20 minutes down to Guide Rock, Nebraska, episode 128, which is our last Nebraska episode, and that was July 2019.
I don't even think I remember.
So it's been a while. Yeah. It was a really crazy one. I think it was Blood Trail. Follow that Blood Trail, maybe. That could be it. I'm not positive.
Okay.
So it's in Knox County, zip code 68783, area code 402. Tiny little towns. I mean, all these towns are like a little main street and then just rural farms. 0.55 square miles.
Okay.
Just a little main street. The motto of this place, I don't even know what to say about it, is the kolach capital of the world.
What the hell is a
kolach capital of the world? We'll get into that. Okay. Don't worry. Or this is their alternate one. This is like they're trying to be cool a little bit with this one. We put the nowhere in middle of nowhere. So, no, it's not a real one. The first one is actually real.
0.55 square miles. That's not a town.
It's a speck. It's literally just in the middle of nowhere.
Unbelievable.
From a plane, you'd be like, that must be a farm. Yeah. And it's a whole town. It's wild. It's super weird. So the history of this town, it was apparently the county was organized by the territorial legislature in 1857 and named L'Auquicourt.
What?
That was the French name for the river by the in this area here. So the name was changed to Knox because no one could fucking pronounce L'Auquicourt very well in rural Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like, what was that again? La Quinta Inn Courtyard at the La Quinta? What the fuck he talking about?
Those are two different hotels.
I don't know.
We don't have either.
I don't know what you're talking about, boy, but maybe try the next town over. Right. It's a little smaller, so probably chances are less, but but we can't. But Knox, I know Knox. That's better. It's Knox on the head. I got Knox all over the place. So it was changed to Knox by a statute passed in 1873. They're like, let's change this to something we can pronounce. They platted it in 1887, and that was before the railroad came by. And eventually they took the town name here from the Verdigre Creek that's nearby. They were like, that's a terrible name. It's already a creek name. Might as well slap it on a town, too.
You can say that shit.
That's what I mean. Some of the first establishments were, I'll give you a guess, Jimmy.
A church.
Saloons.
Yep.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Towns are built in one of two ways. Right. One of two ways. Either on booze and whores or God. One of the two. Because never the two shall mix, and they always are the two. No, that's what it is. Yeah. It's either booze and whores this way and miners this way. Come on, guys. One of the two here. So
this one's much more fun.
Well, that's what it is. 2 saloons, a post office, and a hotel/restaurant. So it's Deadwood, basically.
Or house.
Yeah, Deadwood. Sure, yeah. That's not our words. That's what they would have called it in the 1880s.
Right.
If you've seen Deadwood, we talk about it a lot. So if you're new to the show, you might be like, why are they saying whore so much? Jesus, it's a Deadwood thing. Never mind. So among the first settlers here was someone named Old Jules Sandoz.
What?
I don't know.
Old balls?
Old Jules, they called him,
like
I guess.
Jules?
Jules.
Okay.
Old Jules.
It was like old balls over there.
Yeah. The father of author Mary Sandoz, apparently a famous author from a time back then. I don't know shit about it. So they put a school up in 1889. In 1912, they got a fire department because, they're in the middle of nowhere.
And everything's wood.
Shit's going to burst into flames eventually here. They formed it. They, at that point, they had 2 hotels, 2 hardware stores, a furniture store. Yeah. Holy shit. An undertaker.
Gotta have that.
That's usually there.
There's duels in the street.
Yeah. A millinery store, which is mill shit.
Okay.
1 drugstore, 2 doctors, a dentist, 2 implement dealers, 2 lumberyards, a harness shop, a blacksmith shop, 1 meat market, 2 pool halls, a racket store, an ice cream parlor, an opera house, 2 elevators, 2 elevators. What? Holy shit. They probably mean grain.
Yeah.
I assume. 4 saloons, 2 barber shops, an art studio, 1 newspaper, 1 lawyer, a tailor, 2 livery barns, a flour mill, an ice cream manufacturing plant, several real estate dealers, 2 lunchrooms, a cigar shop, cement works, 1 church for all that.
All crammed in.
I like this town.
0.55 square miles?
2 telephone systems, 2 banks, and a natural park.
This place is booming.
Yeah, they were booming in 1912 here, and it continued to do pretty well. And it's the right around the turn of the century, about 1900, they had a big flood.
Yeah.
And then the problem is 100 years later, though, they have a really big fucking flood here.
Really?
But last year, we're talking
really?
2019. They said ice chunks the size of small cars ripped through barns and farmhouses is the first line of this article in the New York Times.
Bitchin'.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Baby calves were swept into freezing floodwaters, washing up dead along the banks of swollen rivers. Farm fields were now lakes.
That's horrifying.
That's what happened. Yeah, this place, they talked to this Ruzicka family. By the way, everything here is Czech, like Czechoslovakia, Czech. These people are, all the settlers were Czech, everything here is Czech.
And
the stores, it's still, it's the same people. They haven't, it's not like people have moved in. There's no
same generation.
Yeah, they just keep going. They're farmers. They pass the farms down. It's the same people. These people here, the Ruzicka family, they own a little store, and they said they've farmed for 5 generations in this area.
Jesus.
I mean, that's fucking crazy.
Why would you?
I don't know. Back to the homesteading days of the 1800s.
Yeah.
And they said their farmhouse was total lost. Their branding iron is missing. Well, that's a tragedy.
We'll keep looking.
The family tractor is missing. It's a 1930s model that they still use sometimes. It was the family's first tractor. They found it overturned in a mud pond. And that was that. For that, they said that they couldn't even tally their cattle herd losses. They just things were gone. They tried to move cows to neighboring farms, and then the dam burst. And they said that they had 15 newborn calves perished, and all sorts of other cows. The guy, Mr. Ruzicka, said, "We didn't know what to do with them. We never ever expected anything like this. We just ran out of time. It was either sacrifice them or sacrifice ourselves." This is the kind of flood we're talking about. Wow. A scary one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one they even knew was coming. That's the other thing, too. This man, Ruzicka, also says there's not many farms left like this, and it's probably over for us, too, now. Financially, how do you recover from something like this? And the woman said, his wife said, quote, "It came very quickly. Quite honestly, if somebody would have told us that morning it was going to be a flood, we probably would have said, no, I don't think so." It was just all at once. I guess the creek rose very quickly, and one witness said, "I looked across the creek and the water was out of the banks. You can see it was above the dike, pouring over the edges, coming into town on the bottom end. We need to evacuate everybody from the lower to end and working our way up immediately." And that's what they did. And it was so much water. Everything was just destroyed. The dike that protected the Verdigre town is right by these people's house, the Ruzicka's farm.
Yeah.
And this thing is 25 feet high at its highest point, 2 feet at its lowest point, and basically it started coming over.
Wow.
And that was that. I mean, can you imagine that?
That's so much water.
It's coming. Oh, fuck. Now what do we do? Yeah. So, it's crazy. They said the dike was kind of messed up. They said there's trees and stuff growing on that dike. Those all have to come down. We have a dike that hadn't had any maintenance done to it for years because it was a temporary thing, and then nothing further was ever done.
That's America. The infrastructure's fucked.
They put it up. That's what we do. We put shit up, and we're like, well, I mean, we'll fix it if it breaks.
Right.
We're like,
it's done now. So
I mean, that's good for now.
Right.
And then when it's broken, that's what we do with bridges. We don't fix them until cars plunge into rivers, and then we go, oh, we should fix that bridge. All righty.
Meanwhile, there's a report that says it's a staggering number of percentage that of our bridges that are fucked and need to be overhauled.
No shit.
It's so scary.
Yeah. They talked to some professor from Omaha here from the college, and he said, "I think that we all forget these little communities exist. We need to definitely look out for them, and especially after devastation like this." This town peaked in population in 1980 when it had 617 people.
That's the highest.
That's the height of this town's heights. Right now, it has 526 people, which is down 13% since 1990. Now, the stats are weird when we're under 1,000 people. So there's way more females than males in this town. But the median age is 59.6.
Oh, that's weird.
That says something. 28% of the people here are over 75 years old. 28%.
1 in 4.
17% of people are over 85.
Holy shit.
What are they doing here to live so long, first of all? Yeah. We've never had a town where 17% of the people are over 85. That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's fucking incredible.
Check genes.
No stress, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. The only stress you got now is that dike.
Besides the flood?
Right.
Yeah. And obviously all the demographics under 60 are way low. Yeah. There's no kids here. This would be a depressing place to be a child. This would be fucking terrible. terrible.
Dude, this town's going to die itself. Like, it's going to be over.
Once these people, in the next 10 years, 30% of the population is going to die. And then the rest of the people are either going to continue with these farms after this flood has destroyed everything, or they're going to move somewhere else. Yeah. So it might be kind of over for this town.
This might die soon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is one that it could very well die pretty soon here.
Especially if the economy gets going the way it's going.
It's not going to help. It's not going to help rural Nebraska, I don't think. So there's less single people with children because there's so many old people, I would imagine. The household size is like half the normal household size because it's, old people. That's it. This is a
baffling town.
Not old, elderly. They're very old. We're not saying, hey, these are old people. They're fucking 88 years old. That's elderly. That's old. You don't get any older than that unless you're dead.
Barely. You get a few years older usually.
Yeah. You get my grandmother, and it's like, every step they take is like, don't let her fall down. Yeah. So race of this town is 93.2% white, which is not surprising. The 0.0% black, 0.0% Asian, 4.8% Native American, which is a very high percentage as usual, but for Nebraska, it's pretty normal. And 2.1% two or more races, which seems to be white and Native American. Yeah, right. It's mixed together. I think that's all of it. So, right? I mean, there's nobody else to fucking mix with. Who are you mixing with?
A few boys named Joaquin.
That's it. There's no one to mix with here. There's 0.0% Hispanic too. Like
wow.
That's it. That's all it is. With white people and like 5 Native Americans.
That's a wild
fucking weird town, man. We've never had that stat before.
No.
The only minority is Native American. We've never had that in a town before. It's usually the only one that's not there.
Right.
The only people that aren't there represented. So 76.3% of the people here are religious. 0.0% Baptist. So Baptist life does not translate to the plains apparently here. Bunch of Lutherans, 35% Lutherans. Lutherans are the Baptists of the plains. As we found out now, apparently, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Wheatfield Baptist.
The Wheatfield Baptist. That's right. You guys are silo Baptists. Jesus. 0.0% Jewish, 0.0% Islam. They just drove on by.
Wild.
I don't think so. Kept driving.
This town is so fascinating.
It's a weird town. The politics in this town, I'll give you a crack at what those might be.
They're super progressive.
They're all very progressive. Yeah. This town actually has 7 abortion clinics. 17% Democrat, 75.5% Republican last election here. Unemployment rate is low because these people, most of them work on farms. They have their family farms, so they're not unemployed at all.
No reason to be.
Median household income, though, is brutal. Rest of the country, it's about $57,500. That's normal. Here it is $32,031.
Yeah, if there's a flood, you're fucked.
That's fucked, man. Yeah. That is not great. 20% make under $15,000 a year. 47%. That's almost half. Yeah. Damn near half make $30,000 or less a year. That is rough. That's rough, man.
I can't do that math.
That's right. I mean, if you have a family farm, I guess, and you can kind of subsistence, farm for your food, so you don't need that much money, I guess, if you're not paying a mortgage and paying.
I guess if it's a family house that you've had for years and years.
I don't know how that works, but either way, that's not a lot of money to live on for a household income.
That's crazy.
That's rough, man. So cost of living in this town, 100 being regular, par, average. We'll see how far that goes. Here it's 73 out of 100, which seems high. Yeah, healthcare is very high, 137 out of 100, but housing is really low, 29 out of 100.
That might be the lowest.
It's pretty close. Median home costs $68,800 here, which still seems high for this place. Yeah, that's what I'm like. Seems.
This place doesn't even seem affordable.
65% of the houses are worth less than $80,000.
Wow.
In this place, so that'll give you an idea of where we're at.
65%.
65% of the houses are worth less than $80,000. And that's not just the house.
You can stop at then $80,000.
Yeah.
Worthless.
That's not just the house. See, that's the property.
Right. It's all of it.
You can have a big farm and it's worth $50,000. That's
because the milk machine back there is worth $30,000.
Yeah, we got ourselves a milker. I'll tell you what, my granddaddy got it in 48, and I haven't had a problem since. That's most of the value of the property. I got to tell you though.
This property here is worth about $68,000. Back in the back, we've got a pristine tractor worth about $200,000.
It's good. Did I mention my baseball card collection? Because if you put that onto it, that's another $2,000, I believe, unless that Ken Griffey Jr. went down more than I thought it would. But you never know.
And that makes this value of property $65,000.
It's better now. So if we've convinced you, obviously the only place to go is Verdigre, Nebraska.
I don't know how.
We have for you the Verdigre, Nebraska Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here goes for about $700 a month, but there really isn't anything to rent. So that's a moot point. So it doesn't matter. That's just what it's listed as.
That's too much anyway.
That would be way too much. I found a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 780 square foot. It's a little house. It's on property, like a third of an acre or something, like a decent sized yard or whatever. $38,000 though.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if you need a place
700 square feet.
780. It's like, that's
the fuck?
It sounds like an apartment, but it's actually a little 2-story house. I don't know, the little tiny stories. little miniature. It's like a dream house. It's a Verdigre Barbie dream house. I found a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,606 square foot house here, which is a decent sized house. It's on a decent sized lot, 1,606 square feet, $79,000 for that. So
how do you get 5 bedrooms in there?
I don't know.
Fuck.
Tiny little bedrooms. Yeah. You made 2 into 1, or 1 into 2 a couple of times over, probably. It's probably a 2-bedroom house to begin with, or a 3-bedroom house. Then I found one. It's just a big, weird fucking house. Look at it, Jimmy. It looks.
What?
It is weird.
It looks like
a logging encampment or something.
It looks like a house that would be on the cover of a book where something terrible happened.
Like this story. Yeah. It's this is on 120 acres of cropland.
Yes.
Hay meadow and premier hunting land with a live stream and an Amish-built log cabin.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. 56 acres of crop alfalfa land and grass hay meadow. Wow, with the rest of it being woods. A 2,640 square foot house with a full basement. Water provided by a well drilled in 2003. $349,000.
That seems like a lot, though.
120 acres.
Based on the fucking look of that house, though,
it's
you're going to have to raise that thing and put a new one up.
Oh, yeah. The house
but
is
that many acres is crazy.
It was built in 2003, the house. So
that was
built in 2003.
Jeez.
They built a house that looked like it was built in 1843 in 2003 for some odd reason.
Sure could use a coat of lacquer.
Slap some varnish on that, Amish. You're not too Amish for varnish, are you?
You don't use Thompsons on that fucking thing?
Things to do here. Kolach days.
All right. I can't wait to find out what that is.
Okay. Now, Kolach, the Verdigre is the Kolach capital of the world. I found out what it is. And when you read it, it sounds disgusting. And then I looked at a picture of it and I was like, oh, those are delicious. Holy shit. Very nice here. Kolach or kolach is a pastry of Czech and Slovak origin with a fruit center, usually poppy seed, prunes, cherries, or blueberries, which that's the part that makes it sound gross. Prunes and poppy seeds. Nobody wants that in a pastry.
Something sweet.
Somewhat similar to a Danish. During the summer, usually the second week of June, Verdigre hosts a huge festival celebrating the kolach and usually provides rides, tractor pulls, both duck and turtle races, Jimmy. Both.
Yeah.
What else here? Live music, mud volleyball.
What?
I don't know.
Somebody's going to get in trouble for that.
That sounds fucking gross. That sounds terrible. Mud volleyball. But it's also, at least I know what that is. A bullorama. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Is that all bulls?
Bullorama. Just cows with dicks everywhere.
Bring your dick-laden cows.
Kolach eating contests, obviously, a variety of activities for the community, and then Verdigre crowns its annual kolach queen during this festival, which is a very prestigious appointment, obviously.
I hope a man wins that sometime.
They apparently the city elects kolach royalty, both king and queen, during the festivities.
Okay.
Kolach. Now I looked at what these look like.
Queen. Yeah.
They sound disgusting.
Yeah.
But then you look at them and they're delicious. They're like a tart kind of a thing, like
little ones.
It's like a pastry thing with like a fruity thing in the center.
Okay.
There's Italian cookies that are just like it. That's why there's a lot of Czech and Slavic and Italian. They all fuck each other back in the day.
In the palm of your hand, the little circle
ones? They could be littler, they could be bigger, but they're like, it's not a real sweet pastry. The pastry itself is kind of semi-sweet.
Ugh.
It's not real sweet. Yeah. It's kind of like I like shit, like a pound cake or something.
Yeah.
And then the middle is the fruit part's the sweet part.
Okay.
Not like here where we stack sweet on top of sweet on top of sweet.
It's not is it like a shortbread with it on it?
Not a shortbread. It's hard to
more
explain,
doughy?
Yeah, it's good. They're
more of a bread.
They're pretty good though.
Okay.
Not a bread, but like they're pretty good. But I found the schedule for last year's and it's pretty amazing. They kick it off with a Texas Hold'em poker tournament, a variety show, which sounds great. The Verdigre Community Chorus presents How Times Have Changed. That's their show, apparently. What's up with that? But it's directed by Nancy Pavelka, so I'll be there. June 14th is the annual barbecue cook-off. Gotta have that. A pool party. Okay. What else we got? A kiddie parade, which sounds disgusting. Theme, Noah's Ark.
Oh, boy.
So let's get religious with this as well. Very nice there. Another variety show in the nighttime. Cruise night. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I want to see the variety shows. I want to see what they call a variety show.
Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, my God. It's not showcasing, like, talents of, like, random people, is it? Or is it... Maybe it is.
It probably is.
Or is it like Eric Andre's variety show?
This kid farts at will, I feel like. It's stuff like that. Let's bring him out.
Shit.
That's an old man that plays the spoons.
Right.
That's what I feel like it is. That's what this has to be. Then
somebody drags their dick on wine glasses and makes different sounds.
The Doc Wallstrom Memorial Turtle Races are on Saturday, Jimmy, so get yourself all ready for that. The Sand Dig.
Oh? Do they bury shit?
I don't know if they're burying or just a competition to see who
digs a bigger hole.
Dig the fastest. Then the duck races come later on at 1:30. The beanbag tournament, I assume that's like cornhole.
Probably.
I assume there.
They got like a weird fucking duel.
Yeah. Then the night band is the VHS alumni band.
Yes.
So that means they're old people.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
A lot of Huey Lewis covers.
Oh, it just constantly.
I got a new
rock and roll is in Verdigre, and 4 people cheer.
We both grabbed a different Huey song.
It's fine. It's all the same. Yeah. It's all the same fucking song.
Yeah, I like him though.
All the same song. All the same song. I
kind of like him.
Jesus Christ.
I can harken
stupid
back.
Fucking 80s shirts. Oh, fucking
hair.
He's so 80s. You're just like, ugh. Go away. You're like a walking episode of Alf. Get the fuck away from me. So
he hasn't slowed down. He hangs on
he's
to
on
it.
there.
Same shit.
Same shit. That's all he's got. And he's going to grab onto it.
Bring me the 80s news.
Please. Sunday, they have the annual polka mass.
What?
At the church. All faiths are welcome.
Mass?
Mass. I guess it's a polka. I don't know how to explain that. Okay. You do that. Royal Ball is at the end of that night with the coronation of the 2019 King and Queen. This, unfortunately, guys, is canceled for 2020. It was supposed to happen this week, and it's gone. Good. If we can't do live fucking shows, these people can't pick a kolach queen. Fuck you. No.
Yeah.
Crime rate in this town here. What we're interested in, the good stuff. Property and crime in this town is about half the usual, the average national crime rate for property. And violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is a little under half.
Wow.
So it's a safe town. Yeah. I mean, everyone knows each other.
That seems a little
500 something people.
Elderly people.
Yeah, right. Even half.
Shit out of each other.
I don't know what's going on here. Maybe at the one saloon in town, these farmers get pissed off at each other for somebody saying their alfalfa hay crop came in better than someone else's alfalfa hay crop. Those are fighting words, Jimmy. I'll tell you right now.
Your wife doesn't look as good as a kolach.
That's what you think. Your wife should be kolach queen?
Right.
Hell no. My wife can put away 100 kolaches. That's how we pick it, right?
Yeah.
The lady who can eat the most kolaches at once, because my wife will win. She pulls the tractor. I had 4 oxen died last year. I didn't even replace them. I just put her outside, put it on her. But she said, I got it. I didn't even have to force her. She was just like, all good. That's how strong she is. That's a kolach queen. Everybody.
Independent woman.
She's an independent woman. Right. She don't need no oxen or no man. Nothing.
She doesn't need me. I ain't slept with her in 12 years.
Shit. Not at all. She won't let me. That's part of it. Also, I did some bad things back in the day. But that's
probably my fault.
Probably my fault. I'm not gonna. Let's not get into my, our marriage.
I didn't say I need to be king. I said she needs to be queen.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't the king, but she should be queen. That's all I mean. And I think we should crown her. Bob, I told you, your wife is shitting kolaches. Your wife, you couldn't pile kolaches high enough to reach the shit pile that your wife's head is. Fucking his alfalfa sprout. Hey, it's so weak this year. That's why he's angry. It's angry at the alfalfa sprout.
Trying to blame the COVID.
Trying to blame. It's the COVID. Like, alfalfa don't get no COVID. Don't make your wife any heftier. Let's just put it that way. Like mine is.
This sounds fascinating. It really is.
You want to hear fascinating? Yeah. Let's talk about a murder. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Right.
This is weird. Mm-hmm. This is just such a anything we ever do where a farm is at all involved in the story, it's always fucking crazy. Yeah. Why is that?
It's the craziest one.
I don't get it.
Is it just like they figure their whatever they feel is right on their property is the law?
I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. It's like they think it's sovereign land. Right. They think it's like when the colonists came over and they bought shit from the natives. They weren't like, oh, this is my land and I live under your law. They were just like, well, this is England now.
Right.
My yard is England, so I can do whatever I want in here now. Yeah, this is
on the confines of what I believe is right.
We're annexing this as that's what I don't know if that's what it is on a farm.
It's got to have something to do with it.
And it's weird because everyone thinks of like a farm person. There's no negative farm person connotation. Everyone, it's the salt of the earth and that's this and that's that.
Of America.
And anybody's like, we got to help the farmers. And everyone claps. There's never a, why? Or not that I'm saying we shouldn't, but I mean like everyone just immediately like, well, we love farmers. We love farmers.
It's because the majority of America refuses to.
We don't want to farm shit. That's
somebody planted some tomatoes. They're like, this is a fucking nightmare.
My garden.
Let the farmers do it, and I'll just cheer for them.
My garden's overrun with shit. I got 5 plants, so if you can hold this together and get crops out of it, that's incredible.
I got leaves and stalks everywhere, not a fruit in sight.
I got shit.
I got leaves. I can tell you was a tomato. I don't know.
Shit.
Might be squash by now,
but no tomato popped out.
Right.
That's the problem. It's just leaves.
It's the plant.
So I think maybe that's why it's surprising too, because we think of like a farm, right or wrong, for some reason. I don't know if it's TV, it's movies. You see people on farms. It's like, oh, they're wholesome and they're whatever. No. They could be just as fucking weird as anyone else.
Just as weird as me, I guarantee it.
And even weirder because they're off on their own. Right. Like I said, they get off on their own device. Yeah, nobody seeing. No one giving them that. That look. I just gave you that. Like,
not even that. It's not. No.
They got a side eye like.
Fuck, Bob.
What the fuck is going on? Or like nobody like peeking out their blinds, checking them like, oh, Bob's over there. And you're like, I can't do this. The neighbors look out the blinds. There's no fucking body around. Nobody. So,
and on top of that, they're doing things that are like crazy in the first place to like the human psyche. Like they're jamming sperm up a cow's giner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And then and then killing large mammals and shit. Which I mean, obviously, it has to be done if you want food.
But
do it. It takes a certain something to do it. Not everyone's built for that.
No.
Whereas if you grow up on a farm, you have to be built for that. So there has to be people who aren't built for that who do it anyway because they live on a farm and it fucks up their brains. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we figured it out.
And on top of that, you see not just what they have to do to get the food and the crop and the product to us. You also see the side of that where the injuries and the things that people do to get back into the fields. I know a dude that's missing a fucking arm because he fell into a corn shucker or some shit.
Jesus Christ.
It's unbelievable what farmers will go
past
through.
That by now.
I know.
Falling into corn shuckers. But
he was a kid.
What the fuck is he doing near industrial farm equipment? Because he's a kid. That's where you put the kid, next to the heaviest machinery.
Right.
Put him right.
Because he's got to work.
Get right in there by the gears, son. Right in there. Get close to the gears.
Lost his fucking arm.
I guess so. No, it's all right if your sleeve hangs. Yeah. Let it dangle, son. No worries. Don't button it. Oh,
hey, you all right?
That'll teach him.
Rub some dirt in it, fucker.
That'll teach him.
They're tough as shit, too. I'll give them that, man.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Fuck, maybe that's why healthcare's so expensive in this town. It's all thresher accidents. Uninsured thresher accidents.
It's a dangerous lifestyle. It's hard-ass work. And maybe that's why we just blindly stand up and cheer. But I'm positive that there's
some weirdness.
Exorbitant amount of numbers of people that have some crazy shit going on in their life.
You know it. You just know it. We got to talk about Frances Thompson. Fran is her name. Fran here. Let's talk about Fran. Now, Fran Thompson, she's born January 4th, 1950. Okay. Old Franny girl here. Yeah. So, Fran, she has kind of a tough time through her 30s, through her late 20s, early 30s. Bit of a hard time. She has a husband. That's where the Thompson came from. But they never actually get married. Which is interesting.
Common law?
They're like common law. They have a son together, and she eventually changes the son's name and her name to Thompson as well, which seems more difficult than just getting married.
Yeah.
There's more paperwork involved in a name change than a marriage. Like, I got married. You go down. I don't know what it's like in every state, but in Arizona, you go down, you pay $76, and you say, I'm going to marry her, and you guys show ID, and then they go, all right, well, here's the thing. Mail it back in when you do it, and there you go. That's it. You mail a thing, and they go, hey, you're married. It's so fun. It's way too easy.
Yeah.
There should be like a questionnaire and a quiz.
The opposite should be true. The divorce should be much easier than the marriage.
Oh, my God. The marriage is so fucking easy. So a name change, I know people that have changed their names. It's a huge pain in the ass to change your name. So this is, I don't know why she wouldn't just get married, but anyway.
My mom did that shit to us as like kids. She changed my name to my stepfather's name.
Oh, I know a lot of people.
And then she changed it back when she got a divorce. Then she got married again, and she was like, I'm not doing that shit again.
Yeah, you're good
you're
with what you are.
Forever.
Yeah, that's
Hang
fine.
on to it.
Yeah, it's easier. It's expensive and it's a pain in the ass. So anyway, this guy, while they're married and they have a young son, he ends up dying in a construction accident. Yeah. I assume falling in a corn
chucker
thing of some kind. Yeah.
Some machine that
right by the gears, Thompson, and he was like, hey, close enough? Oh shit. So obviously that's tragic.
Yeah.
So she is, has to kind of raise up this son alone. But she's got her mother also. Her mother has a farm that we'll talk about here in a moment here. But through the 80s, she really she's trying to get her life back together. She's trying to pull it together. She wants to be an attorney, actually, because she's super into environmental activism and animal rights is what she's into, big time, which is strange for a rural farm girl from the middle of nowhere. But, I guess she's been on farms and she said she saw what happens to animals and made her feel bad. Okay. That was her thing. So I could see that being the other thing that can happen. So anyway, she goes to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, actually, in the 80s to pursue her degree. Yeah. She goes for 3 years. From 88 to 91, she's going to school, and she has mostly A's as grades.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing really well. She's taking it seriously. As a lot of people who go back to school, like in their 30s, end up being very successful at it because they take it fucking seriously.
They're fucking invested. Also, they've seen the other side of the coin where life is fucking difficult.
Yeah, and they know the value of money, so they're paying for it. They're like, I'm gonna fucking do this great because this is expensive. I gotta pay this money back and shit. So it's different.
19-year-old doing it with dad's money.
And he's like, my parents are making me go to college. Right. Like, that's how they're thinking, and some of them. And when you're 35, you're like, oh, I get to go to college so I can not be so poor. It's,
As they stand on their head and put the beer nozzle in their mouth.
Exactly.
My dad's making me do this.
No shit. He's making me. This sucks. This totally sucks.
Fuck you, kid.
Fuck. All right, I'm going to go bang this chick. This sucks, man. They're like, what? What are you talking about? No.
You're living the dream, you little asshole.
No. Yeah, you asshole. I didn't get to do that, you dickhead. And fuck, these people, it fucking sucks.
You know what I did because my dad fucking made me is pay my fucking insurance.
That's a smart move.
That's what he made me do because smart. He wasn't around.
Yeah. So, it worked out for the best.
My dad made me pay my rent.
Yeah. It's responsibility.
Bastard.
Son. So yeah, she wanted to go to law school and pursue a career in environmental law. So while she is at the university, she has an apartment in Lincoln where she goes to school. She can't really, it's, hours. It's like a 4-hour drive to Lincoln from Verdigre. So it's not like she can commute. Yeah. So she has an apartment while she's down there. While she's not at university, on the weekends, if they have, holidays, summers, she resides in this farm right outside Verdigre, an 850-acre farm.
What?
Big fucking farm, right? It's a goddamn huge farm.
Yeah.
And her mother owns the farm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Her mother's older. Mm-hmm. And this is, like I said, she's about 40, so her mother's getting up there in age. Mm-hmm. And her mother, it's obvious that she's going to inherit the farm, so she's kind of stays close to the farm to be in there. Now, during this time, her son, Stephen, he ends up he's in the Navy. And so about 87, he enters the Navy, and we'll talk about him graduating from the Navy in 91 and all sorts of shit like that. Now, Arthur the pig, we have to talk about for a second here. Franny girl, loves Arthur the pig.
I feel you.
Okay, she says, and this is her words, she says, my son and I first bought Arthur, a baby girl, with already no hope in her eyes, home with us in the summer of 85.
And then you named her a boy's name?
Yeah, see, this is what I mean. I don't mean the boy's name, but listen to her writing. You can hear how she talks about animals and stuff. Arthur didn't know it yet, so I explained to her on the way home in our truck as she half sat tensely on Steve's lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She explained it.
She explained it very calmly, and then the pig said, I understand. And he looked back to the road, and he said, make a right.
I'm riding with you.
I need to stop at the store quick.
Pick me up a coffee while you're in there.
Pick me up a six-pack while you're in there. Sweetheart, all right there. And he pinched her ass, and she was like, what the fuck? This pig's a dick.
Isn't this pig supposed to be a girl? Jesus.
Is it me or is this pig a dick? Like, isn't it a girl? Yeah. So she said, quote, Arthur was the result of long talks with God about the value of life. Mm-hmm. She's mixed environmentalism and religion big time, by the way. She's in her own in her own little stew.
That's an odd pairing.
It's interesting. It's not usual.
No.
Sometimes there's certain
Native
sects
Americans kind of do it. But
but they're not talking about Christianity.
Right.
Yeah,
they're doing it a different way.
Yeah, they're really into the earth. Like that's what they're. Yeah,
like the gods gave us this, and we do this, and it creates crops, and we.
Yeah, whereas Christianity's like you destroy the earth to show how much God wanted us to have it. That's what.
And she's going to try to mix
those two thoughts
together.
I don't know if that's the point of Christianity. We're just trying to make a whatever. But she's trying to do it. My own weighed and reweighed. The results always negative. I was not grateful for mine. Oh, life, apparently. As a woman in a male-dominated society, born into the underclass, I'd had no easy opportunities. Degrading work and abusive men were the story of my life. I had to say to God, now look, God.
Yeah.
And pig.
You listen good.
Are you listening? Pig. I'm talking to both of you.
Yeah.
God and the pig. Pay attention.
Arthur the girl, listen.
Listen, Arthur the girl. God's listening. You think you're better than God?
Right.
She said, now look, I want a good life. One worth living. I'm not asking for more than I'm willing to give. Watch me. I will find someone who, also through the accident of birth, is in even worse shape than I. I'll turn that being's life into one worth living. And that's Arthur, she says. How could I do that when I couldn't even control my own fate, she says. We had moved to a farm that summer and now had space, farm buildings, and love to share, though little money. Living in that farming area, I was horribly aware of the many others more foredoomed than I. Cute, small, four-legged others.
Okay.
Animals.
Yeah.
What did their bright, shiny, innocent eyes see from behind the fences? I almost said feces. Most everything mine saw driving by, and while little I saw was for me, none was for them. Jesus. Their only benefit of the fine vehicles they saw would be 2 rides, one to an auction, another to a slaughterhouse. No toys, no freedom for them either. At least I, unlike they, were spared the slaughterhouse. So a calf or a baby or a pig baby. I didn't know how to care for either. The sheds near the house were small, so the pig won. I wasn't sure at first it would work out. I already knew in 1985 that I would begin full-time study at the University of Nebraska in 1988, and who knew? Who knew? While I could see clearly the evil from which I was saving Arthur, perhaps pigs had some unknown, uncontrollable flaw. You don't know.
Who knows?
That's right.
I mean, apart from cholesterol.
Well,
they're amazing animals.
They're smart. They're crazy.
Oh, I love them.
She says then, quote, I was painfully honest with Artie.
Oh, boy.
Just very, very. I told her that 3 years was all I could offer, and that might not even work out if I found that she was, for some reason, more than I could handle. But I was able to, and did, promise her that no matter what, she would die at home. There would be no last ride for her to a slaughterhouse, no terror, no unbearable pain. No ghastly, unexpected flaw ever appeared in Arthur. What was she expecting Arthur to do? Turn around and just be like a misogynist, say the N-word to her? Like, what kind of a dick did she expect this pig to be? It's a fucking pig. It's not gonna
you're going to clean up its shit and piss and you're going to feed it, like a dog.
These pigs are racist. I mean, I'm just saying. So she says, our experiences together, as told in my first Arthur story, were priceless. I will always marvel at Arthie's intelligence and ingenuity, at her sweet, gentle nature. Yeah. So that's what we're dealing with. Yeah. We're dealing with a woman on a farm in the late 80s who's got a son and a pig.
And a soft spot for that
pig.
Yeah.
And apparently seems like a very caring, very I don't know if overly is the word, but empathetic, more than average, we'll say.
She's got vegan empathy.
More than average empathy, which I'm not saying is a bad thing to have. It's fine to have empathy. We need people with empathy in the world because, whatever. We need balance. So
she's got so much. Yeah,
she's got a lot, though.
She's the extreme empathy where she's like bringing shit in the house to take care of it.
She's like that. She's like the opposite equivalent of someone's like, let's kill all the animals today. Woo!
She balances.
I can't wait.
She balances one of those people.
I'm going to bathe in the blood of my calves today. That would be
the guy that sits.
She's got to balance that guy.
Right. So. She balances the guy that sits at breakfast with 2 sausage links, two bacon strips, a big piece of ham, 2 eggs. Just like an entire farm dies for this man's breakfast,
and a pig head atop his like a hat. Just the face like a hat on his head. So, Jesus Christ. So let's talk about a guy now. Let's talk about a man named Dean Frank.
Yeah.
So Dean Frank has two first names, obviously, is the most thing we're going to see, the most clear.
What a farmer name.
Dean Frank.
Yeah.
And Dean is a farmer.
You bet.
Dean knows his farming. He's a farm hand from way back.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. They're about the same age, Dean and Francis here. Now, Franny meets Dean shortly after they moved into that farm because he's from that area. So basically, they moved into this farm, and Dean approached them and said, do you need anything done? I'm a farm guy. I do odd jobs around here. He's like a local, he's like one of the guys in Wizard of Oz that, wakes Dorothy up or turns into the Tin Man later or some shit. He's one of those guys.
You were there too.
Yeah, he works on the farm. He does shit. I'm sure he's treated terribly and sleeps with animals. That guy. You know what we're talking about.
He's the guy inseminating the cows, but he's got a boner while he does it.
That's the thing. We don't know what he does out there. And you know what? That's his business, kids.
Stay out of there.
Stay out of the
go in the barn.
Stay out of the barn, kids. What are we doing here? Jesus Christ. So yeah, he did odd jobs around the farm right away. Dean Frank does. He's paid by Thompson's mother, and Frank also helps Franny with various tasks and helps the mother with whenever they need something heavy moved and shit like that. But he also has a special responsibility with that Fran kind of gives him to take care of her pet pig,
of course,
while she's at school as well, and when she's not there. So that's his main duty is basic farm shit, help the mother and take care of this pet pig. So in exchange for taking care of the pig, because that wasn't covered under the mother's salary that she pays him.
The work umbrella.
Franny will she'll do sewing for him if he needs a letter typed to somebody in town, or if he needs because he'll send letters to relatives and shit, and she'll type them up for him. So, because his handwriting shit, he's a farmer.
Yeah.
What do you want? Yeah. So she'll do stuff like that in exchange for that. So it's a nice little, whatever.
You got a gentleman's
barter
agreement.
system.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a farm. This is what you'd expect. Yeah. And it sounds like I'll do farm work if you do my mending and typing. Sounds like it's from the 1850s. This is 1988. This is going on. 1987 right now. Weird.
You put pen to paper, I'll wipe your pig's ass.
That's what I mean. This is fucking weird. Yeah. Hulk Hogan was body slamming Andre the Giant in front of 90,000 people while this was happening. It's way not modern. It's very strange. So, fuck. So what happens here is they do all of that. Frank lives in Atkinson, Nebraska, which is kind of Dean Frank does, which is around, but everything's far from here. So they don't even Thompson and Franny and Dean Frank don't really see each other very much because she's not on the farm much. He comes and goes, so it's just like if they pass by, hey, how's it going? And he'll still tell her something about the pig or some shit like that. But they don't really have much contact besides that. Sometimes Frank will spend the night at the farm when he's doing odd jobs that last kind of into darkness, and he's tired. They say, hey, go ahead and crash out. They have an extra room. There's a spare bedroom upstairs. It's nobody stays on that floor, so he goes up there and takes off early in the morning, that sort of shit. Or if he has a job that's too big for one day, he doesn't have to drive home and drive back in the morning, which is a pain in the ass. So it's a very, very nice, congenial kind of business work relationship.
It works out.
Yeah. If one of their daughters is injured in a tornado, they will care for her. Yeah. Till she comes back and tells them an amazing tale. Yeah. That'll happen. So August of 1991 comes around. Let's fast forward to August of 91.
6 years later.
6 years later, okay, from 85. This nice relationship with the farm guy she never sees, takes care of the pig.
Pig's gotten double its life expectancy out of her.
Oh, yeah, the pig
said she's only given it 3 years.
The pig is hundreds of pounds. It's huge. It's doing great. It's a happy-go-lucky pig.
Yeah.
She says the pig is doing wonderfully. Now, August 1991. Let's jump to August 18th, 1991. Okay, from this nice idyllic time of this woman wants to go to law school and this nice farm guy and everything like that. On August 18th, 1991, Fran Thompson writes, quote, I called Deputy Waterman at 12:22, and then she puts noon in parentheses. I called Dean a, quote, dangerous psycho, and told Deputy Waterman how scared of him I am. Deputy Waterman at that point instructed her of how to obtain a restraining order and advised her to do so the following day because it was a Sunday. So you can go down to the court on Monday and do it. Now at 3:12 p.m., Dean Frank called Franny, and they talked for 32 minutes on the phone. Now, she will say that he didn't threaten her at that time or anything like that, but, and that's what she writes in her notes as well. She has like a note going on that she writes in her computer that I call Deputy Waterman at 1222. This is a file she's got in her computer that she's going on. She writes under that file, Frank, quote, sounded calmer, but like he was going to burst into tears at any second. She also says that Frank sounded like his normal self, and he talked about his normal stuff at the same time. Okay, now, before he hung up, apparently Dean Frank told Franny that he was going to put clothes into the dryer quick, and he's going to go out grocery shopping. Pretty basic shit. Fran says that she didn't invite him over, and, he didn't say he was coming over. There was no indication that he would end up at the house, basically. So, a few minutes later, Dolores Fisher called and told Franny that Dean Frank had been at her place from 12:30 to 2 p.m. and they talked for a while. They were just friends, and that he seemed fine then because Franny asked Dolores Fisher, "How is he doing?" Yeah, and Dolores said just fine. So she said that Frank and Dolores says her and Dean Frank watched TV. They took a nap. We'll come over to your house, watch a little TV, and take a nap. That's a weird visit, is it not?
Did they fuck?
I don't know. They said they had 2 cans of beer.
They definitely fuck, right?
12:30 to 2.
Yeah.
He comes over, has a couple of beers, and takes a nap at the middle of the afternoon. What a weird thing to do.
At just a friend's house?
It sounds great. Don't get me wrong.
I mean,
a good beer nap at 12:30. That sounds comfortable.
I don't see that happening between
put
friends
the
that are the same
put
sex
the
or
blankets
opposite
up
sex.
over
You know
your.
what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's not
a normal thing.
No, 12:30 to 2 is fucking time.
Yeah.
That's
a nooner.
Yeah, they're not just hanging out,
right?
And whatever. So you never know. Though.
I don't know, but that's a strange relationship.
Yeah. Now. This Dolores Fisher also had told Franny at this time, that this Dolores Fisher had talked to B. Gatz, as this woman's name, B-E-A-G-A-T-Z. Yeah. B. Gatz, which sounds like a 1993 rapper.
It does.
B. Gatz, right. The mother of...
Sounds like a guy Common posts a picture on Instagram with.
Yes. The mother of the Gatz boys... And B had reassured her that her boys were harmless because there was a thing that goes on with that.
The Gatz boys are harmless?
The Gatz boys are harmless. They have a Gatz with a Z.
They sound dangerous as fuck.
They do sound dangerous. Yeah. I'm not messing with the Gatz clan.
Oh.
So anyway, Franny says that she was sitting in the dining room at her computer writing the list of Frank's, I called the deputy, I did this, she's doing her things. She says she heard a car door slam and outside. Mm-hmm. She wasn't expecting anyone. So she said Franny goes into the adjacent storage room and where she could see the driveway from the window. She sees outside that it's Dean Frank's car out there. And she said that she was frightened because she didn't think that he was going to come over. But if he did, she was pretty sure he was going to attack her. Okay. Now, she said that she thought she should get back to where she kept her gun, which was on a chair next to where she was sitting working on the computer.
Get back to right next to me.
That's what I do. I like to sit at the computer when I'm doing research, and I just get the biggest gun I can and put it next to me. It just makes me feel better when I'm working. You know what I mean? You never know, too, because the computer, when it just spins, I might have to shoot it. I could get very angry at it. You never know. Do you keep all your guns next to you while you type, usually? Yes. It's the only place it should be, right?
I'm being honest, I have them all. There's always a gun near me in my house.
Why? Who are you expecting to come over?
I'm just a lunatic, man.
What's wrong with you? For what?
I don't know. I got no answer.
That's what's the funny part about it.
I'm watching Netflix on TV. I got a fucking 9mm on the table. Why do I do that?
You got a house alarm and a lock on the door and everything.
Come right next to me.
You don't live in a fucking homeless encampment where you're like, they could try to take my asshole at any moment. See the big one? He tries to take my butthole every night. I got an answer for him next time he comes. That's not what's going on.
I got a nice neighborhood. I got 3 cops on my street. It's fine. I don't know why I'm in my head going, what if somebody comes in? I'm in so much trouble. I'm in my boxers. I'm so vulnerable.
That's amazing. So she's got...
I live alone, James. I'm terrified.
There's no one that's going to attack. You never know. So... Jesus Christ.
I got a beautiful picture of my children in a little nook right next to the entryway of the house. Right behind that picture is a gun. Just in case.
It's a good place for it.
My beautiful kids right there. And then a menacing firearm right behind it.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. There's people in other countries listening going, why?
What the fuck?
Why? Like English people going, but... Okay.
The worst part is that I fucking hate guns.
I know. That's the funny. I know you do. That's what I mean.
Gotta have
in this
them.
state. It's crazy, but
lunatics have guns, and I gotta be a lunatic
I know you don't.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't want to have them.
And
I understand. I know you do. You're in a weird. It's a weird thing, dude. So she's great. Well, she's got them too, though. Anyway, she hangs out. Got it back to the computer.
Yeah.
She says as she returned to her chair, she saw Frank in the doorway between the kitchen and the dining room.
Okay.
So, wow, he came right in. Now, apparently, Dean had told Franny that he brought some groceries over. That's what he was there for. So she instructed him to put them in the refrigerator, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, duh.
Place.
So Franny says that, Frank was walking around at that time toward the refrigerator and then suddenly had the groceries and all that and then changed his mind about putting the eggs in the fridge and whirled around at her screaming from what she says, quote, "I'm going to fucking kill you."
Uh-huh.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just, I got some groceries, but you'll never eat them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm tired of doing this shit.
No omelets for you. So, she says that she was sure that Dean Frank said, "I'm going to kill you," because, that would have fit the situation of someone charging at her, whatever. She said, he said, "I'm something kill you," but I think he said, "I'm going to." That's what she says there. So, this is amazing. Basically, she only said, now, this is what she says now. Afterwards, she got a different story. Now, she then says that Dean Frank lunged toward her, just lunged at her, and that all she could do, barely had time to grab the .357 she had on the chair next to her. That's a lot of gun.
Yeah.
That's a farm lady gun.
Yeah, it is.
She said she pointed it at Frank with both hands, which you'd have to, otherwise it'd be behind you when you're done shooting it if you're not used to shooting one of those things.
If you want to get 2 rounds off, you better put two hands on it.
And she said, and that's what she said. And she said that when Frank didn't stop moving toward her, she rapidly fired all 6 rounds in the .357.
Oh, that's too many.
That's a lot. I don't know how she'd ever have hearing again, number one.
Oh, she shot him on the ground then.
Well, we'll talk about it, yeah.
There's no way she got him all 6 of those on the way down.
She said that although the shots stopped him, she, quote, couldn't stop pulling the trigger, so she aimed the last shots down and away from him because she just wanted to empty the gun. I don't know what that is. It's once it goes, you just can't stop. It's a momentum thing, Jimmy. That's how it works. I don't know if you know anything about science.
Until it clicks.
But apparently, once you click it once, your finger has a... Yeah. It's a physiological thing. It's
just
weird.
It keeps coming back.
Yeah. A doctor will explain it. We're not the ones who can explain that to you. So... Yeah, she said that, she rapid fired all of that. Now, 5:20 to 5:30 p.m. is when 2 high school boys that were hitting golf balls at a nearby farm testify later on that they heard 2 to 3 shots at this point. They placed the time of the shots between 5:20 and 5:30 p.m. And this was a few minutes after one of the boys had seen a car turn into Franny's driveway. Okay, so they continued hitting golf balls until about 6, but neither of them heard any other shots, they said. So they heard 2 or 3 shots, and that's it. So from 5:20 to 6 o'clock, only 2 to 3 shots were fired, basically, here. Because if they heard those, they'd have heard all of them. Yeah. It's a .357.
Right.
Those things are fucking loud. And if you're in open space, if you're in a farmhouse surrounded by nothing, and you're in the next, you will fucking hear that .357 for 2 counties over. That is so fun. They're so loud. Oh, they're so loud.
It's like a pop. A 9mm millimeter pops.
And then it's got a fucking
it's got a report.
It's got a huge report afterwards. It sounds like it's getting like they're crazy.
Sounds like thunder cracks.
It's exactly what it sounds like. So, they're doing that. Now the sheriff log of the calls indicates that Franny called at 5:35 to report the shooting. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit afterwards. Deputies arrived at the farm at 6:25. That's how long shit takes to get places there.
Oh, he's never getting a doctor.
6:25. Yeah. That's crazy. Now, she at that point said that she didn't mention anything about "I'm going to kill you" at this point to the police. She just said that she heard Frank made a noise and lunged toward her, so she was scared and emptied the 6 cannon fucking shots at him.
She's a jumpy one.
I would say, yeah, she should have a smaller caliber if she's going to be that jumpy. Then again, if she had like a 9mm, she'd have emptied out all 16 shots of them. I was one in the chamber, so it's going to take a while.
Some pistols have a 24-round magazine.
I got a banana clip on this one. Hold on a minute. It's going to take a while. I can't help it. I have to empty it all.
Yeah.
So they got there at 6:25. They were let in the house by Franny. They found Dean Frank lying on the floor in the computer room and a pool of blood on the floor. Obviously, if you're shot with a .357, that's going to leave some holes in you. That'll open you up. To the left of Frank's head were words written in blood on the floor.
Oh.
Written in blood on the floor. Next to his head, the words appeared to say, "self-defense," is what the words said, written in blood on the floor next to his head.
Oh, this just got kooky.
Yeah, it gets way kookier, Jimmy. This is just the tip of the iceberg here. It says self-defense. There's a second word. They said although the second word was difficult to make out, they're pretty sure it was defense. Self was definitely the first word, and they got the DEF out of it, and then it gets a little sloppy. Because, someone was shot with a .357 allegedly here that wrote this. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. Yeah. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. Yeah. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So, this was, by the way, to the left of Frank's head this was found, and he is right-handed. Okay. So that not where you would write, probably, unless you couldn't move your right hand, all you could move is your left hand, because you've been, hit with a hand cannon.
Or unless you roll over and do it with your right hand.
That's possible. Problem is, no blood at all was found on Frank's right hand. Mm-hmm. But there was blood noted on his left hand. Now, deputies around here also found a note in an open suitcase nearby, all right, with the words in it reading, quote, "I love Fran, self-defense, and Dean," each written twice, and the words, quote, "Fran, I love you," written once.
What's happening?
So he wrote all that allegedly twice, and it's on this note, and "Fran, I love you" once. Okay, very strange. Yeah. Now, a deputy asks Fran what Frank had been shot with, and she handed him a fully loaded Colt Python 357.
That's a badass gun.
That is a big fucking mean gun.
It's a big silver one.
Oh, yeah. She said that she reloaded the weapon while she called the sheriff's department to report the shooting. Because, when the cops come, it's important to have loaded 357 around, because it's always the best course of action, obviously, in your house when you're a suspect for something like a shooting that you said you did.
I mean, I got the one guy, but just in case somebody else comes in, now my gun's unloaded.
He's like Christmas Stories. Like, you never know. I need my Red Ryder BB gun. They could be coming over the walls at me.
I would have that thought, though, because I'm a lunatic. I'd be like, well, this thing's useless if somebody else comes in, so I've got to reload it and sit here and wait.
The odds are probably once in a lifetime this would happen, but it could happen twice in 15 minutes, I think, right? That's possible.
Before the police get here.
He could have a pal coming through. So now when the police get there, Frank is still alive. They determine he is still alive.
An hour after the shooting.
Deputies requested assistance from the rescue squad, obviously. They get there, the ambulance and everything.
Another hour later.
45 minutes later. Franny at that point is sitting on the arm of the chair next to Frank, just smoking a cigarette, hanging out. Just fucking, I don't know, you might want to do something about this corpse on my floor. Yeah. That's what I picture.
Right.
In response to questioning, Franny states that she did not know where she shot Frank or how many times. I don't know. He's just all full of holes. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, there's blood everywhere.
Got a light?
Yeah.
I'm out of Camels, honey. I gotta go to the store quick. Can I make a run? So now these rescue squad members, they say that Frank was lying on the floor on his left side in the fetal position, knees drawn up to his chest, and he was biting on a pillow and moaning.
What?
Because he's dying in horrible pain from being shot. A bag containing a package of lunch meat was found underneath his side. Mm-hmm. So he's got some cold cuts with him.
Yeah.
Which is, how many times do we have a murder and the guy's lying on top of cold cuts? I don't think that's ever happened before. There's several firsts in this story. This is getting weirder and weirder. I mean, blood written in notes, cold cuts, pigs. What the fuck is happening?
For a lady that cares about animals, why she got ham?
Well, he's got it. So now in response to questioning, Frank tells the medical people, quote, "Just leave me alone and let me die." Oh. So he is beyond, he doesn't want to survive. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
They said Frank's condition deteriorated rapidly after that, and he was unable to respond verbally thereafter. So, a preliminary examination by the medical people revealed 2 abdominal wounds and a back wound. A back wound.
Shot in the back?
Yeah, 2 to the front, 1 to the back. One of the abdominal wounds was bleeding profusely. I bet they were all going pretty good, but one of them was especially bad, apparently. They probably did none of them. This one actually closed up on its own.
This one's all healed.
All healed. He's got good clotting time, this guy.
Only needs a doctor for 2 of these.
Jesus Christ. By 6:30, though, Frank had no discernible blood pressure, pulse, or respirations and was totally unresponsive. They tried to do CPR, and it was unsuccessful, and he's pronounced dead at 7 p.m., 4 minutes after the rescue squad arrived. So, I mean, it took till 6:56. So it took an hour and a half after he got shot before he was seen by medical personnel. Otherwise, he would have probably lived.
Yeah.
I mean, if you lived for an hour and a half, if they got you in, and you probably would have been fine. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but the chances are
much better chance.
Much better
if
chance.
You're talking to police officers an hour and some change after being shot. Pretty good chance you could survive 15 minutes after.
I would say. So Franny is taken into custody as a material witness. Just to, they got to get a full statement from her. Even if it's self-defense, clear cut, as she's saying, in case of self-defense, you have to get a statement. You can't just go like, all right, we'll clean it up and have a good night. Like, all right there. Make sure to keep it loaded in case somebody else comes.
You're going to court either way.
You got something to talk about. She commented several times to a deputy that it, quote, did not turn out like on TV. She says to a deputy. No, TV, it looks the best. That's how they want it to look.
You've been in a car accident? Did your car explode? Of course it doesn't look the same.
That would have been way cooler. I've been in a lot of car accidents. My car never exploded. That would have been a good picture afterwards. People always post their pictures online like, there it is. Just burst into flames. So Sheriff Eisenbeis testifies later on that when he inquired how Franny was standing up under the events of the day, how you holding on, she responded that it was self-defense and that Frank was going to kill her and that Frank had made threats to her and that he was going to get the Gats boys after her. Okay. That was where the Gats boys come in. And she talked to her friend and she said, I talked to the Gats boys' mom and she said they're nice boys. They're not going to do anything. They'll take care of your pig for you. They're great. So Franny apparently told the sheriff, quote, maybe he wouldn't have done anything to me, but I've read where women waited too long to defend or protect themselves. So she's like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. If I'm going to have some guy come in my house and he's going to, some fucking weirdo farmhand come try to attack me, I'm going to shoot first, ask questions later.
It's a great hypothesis.
Which, I mean, that sounds reasonable, honestly. If you're a single woman out here on a farm by yourself in the middle of nowhere, who knows what could happen to you?
What else did you buy that gun for?
That's what I mean. So Franny expressed hope that the sheriff could maybe test her hands for the presence of blood, quote, so they don't think I wrote the note in blood. Why would you even think that?
We haven't even gotten there yet, Frank.
Why
we asked you how you're doing.
How you doing? Well, test my hands, because just so you know. Weird. She informed the sheriff that Frank had written the note in blood. Just so you know, it wasn't me, because he wrote it. I watched him. The sheriff testifies later on that he didn't observe blood on Thompson's hands at the time. Didn't see any on Franny's hands. The autopsy comes in on Frank, revealed a wound from a bullet which entered his left abdomen and exited his back. That's a big exit wound for 357. 2 other bullets entered from the back. So there's 2 to the back.
2 in his back.
They mistook an exit for an entrance on one of them here. 1 entered Frank's right hip, shattering his hip bone and lodging in the bone.
Oh, God, Jesus, that's what happened to my cousin.
Oh, that's brutal. The other entered his right back, passed through his liver and right lung, and exited through his lower chest, striking his right elbow area. That just tore him the fuck apart.
I don't know that he was going to survive, James.
They might have been able to patch up that fucking lung, because the liver you can put back together.
Really?
They might have been able to patch that lung up. If it's one lung, it didn't hit his heart.
Yeah.
So that's what we've heard.
Depends. She's so close too, though. It's fucked up.
The fact
in
that
there.
he lived that long just seems like they could have maybe done. I mean, who knows what would have happened? But he would have had a chance anyway, a fighting chance at it. During the course of this investigation, deputies find 3 bullet holes in Franny's dining room floor next to where Frank had been lying.
That's no good.
That's weird. Path of the bullet was reconstructed by placing rods through the dining room floor in order to determine the angle which the bullets were fired. Yeah. Obviously, that's a cool job.
Yeah,
that's a neat job to have.
That one's cool.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
That's the CSI stuff. That's
fun. That's some cool shit. Yeah. You wouldn't expect it. In this case, you would expect then the mayor came over and trampled the crime scene and brought his dog with him, and he shit next to where the body was and ruined all the forensic evidence.
Spilled his coffee on the guy's face.
In this town, that's what you'd expect. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, he was going to survive, and then the head
boiled him alive.
The district attorney spilled coffee into the wound, and it just infected him, and he went from there. It's fucking insane.
Well, eating a sandwich dripping mustard on the man's chest.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I dripping mustard? Christ. So those 3 bullets appeared to have been fired from an area in the dining room in front of the doors to Franny's storage room, not from the computer desk, like she said. Now, Franny claimed that she was standing next to her computer when she shot Frank, like we said. No blood was found anywhere in the house except in the immediate area where Frank was lying. And when the cops arrived, even though Franny will say that Frank moved around quite a bit after being shot, but there's only blood in one concentrated area. Now, Franny admits that there's an ashtray full of cigarette butts, which could have been hers, she said, on top of a refrigerator in the storage room. They're going to say, were you hanging out in the storage room? And she was like, no, it could have been mine. I don't know. I might have stuck an old ashtray up there. Okay. Who knows, is what she's saying here. This, by the way, that room was one where you could see the front of the house. That's where she went to look, she said, for Frank's car, is that storage room. The sheriff will say later on that Franny told him she heard Frank open the kitchen refrigerator door, and she thought he took off his boots in the kitchen. Now, pictures from the area of the computer room demonstrate that the kitchen area, including the refrigerator, could easily be seen by a person at the computer. So you didn't have to hear anything. You could just look at him. It's right there. So deputies also found 2 cans of mace in Franny's bedroom and a loaded .25 caliber handgun under her pillow.
That's my girl.
She is not fucking around. Yeah. She is. Here's the mace first, and then buck.
Right.
She's coming. Now, so Jesus Christ, man!
Little Saturday Night Special under the pillow.
Yeah. So she writes this all the shit we told you. I told you about Arthur and everything like that. She said that now the sheriff said he got there at 5:35 as well. That was actually there. Now when she called the sheriff, it was recorded as saying, quote, "I just shot somebody. He came in my house. He was going to kill me." She makes it sound like it's like a stranger. So that's how it's going here. So now back to the investigation. This is kind of where stuff starts to come up. When they arrived at the house, though, Deputy Don Henry observed the bullet holes in the floor at the angle that the person would be shooting downward toward the floor. So another deputy examined the crime scene and determined that Frank was hit with multiple rounds there, and that the bullet hole angles in the floor indicated that she fired 3 shots as he lay on the floor. Mm-hmm. That's what they figured out. Those are there. One of the deputies stated that it appeared to me that those 3 rounds had indeed missed Mr. Frank because of the fact that there was no blood spatters or blood marking around the entry of the holes to these bullets to the floor. So she was like shooting at him as he was trying to
moving.
I guess that's what they're saying here. Deputy Henry observed in the autopsy noted 6 wounds inflicted on the victim here. That's exit and entrance. The pathologist who performed the autopsy said that 2 wounds were fatal. I assume the one that went through the liver and the lung.
The one that went through the hip is not a good one either.
Yeah, they said that the bullet that entered the right rear of his back and exited the right front part of his abdomen was definitely fatal because the liver was destroyed. It wasn't just a hole, it was fucked.
That's what I thought.
Totally destroyed as it passed through the body, leaving no chance for survival. Mm-hmm. Furthermore, they said the bullet entered the left front abdomen and exited the left rear area of his back could also have been a fatal shot because of the damage to 1 kidney and a bowel.
God damn it.
Just in bleeding and everything else. Dr. Randall, however, advised that Frank could have probably survived the kidney wound if it had been the only wound, but everything altogether, too much. So the autopsy report says he suffered 3 gunshot wounds, like we just said. They were during the trial later on. He will say that Frank could have only lived about 10 to 15 minutes after suffering the gunshot wound to the liver and lung. Hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not an hour and a half.
Yeah.
About 15 minutes. And those kids heard 3 shots, and there's 6 shots fired.
Right.
So sometime between calling the cops and the cops getting there, somehow that shot happened to him.
Wow.
Doctor basically says there's no way that shot, he lasted an hour and a half after
she
that
blasted the floor and then waited for him.
So we don't know. So furthermore here, according to Dr. Randall, Frank appeared to survive the wound to the upper left abdomen for some time. Thus, he believed the 3 gunshot wounds were not inflicted at the same time and that Thompson possibly fired the fatal shot to Frank's right back shortly before the sheriff's and rescue personnel arrived.
What the fuck?
Okay, so the Knox County Sheriff signed the death certificate saying he died at 7 p.m. The remaining portion of the death certificate, which Thomas, this is the county attorney, John Thomas, was responsible for filling out, indicated the immediate cause of death as multiple trauma due to gunshot wounds to the abdomen, and the time interval between the onset and the death is an hour 25, because that's what she said. Said, I shot him here, and at the time, filling out the death certificate at 7 o'clock, then they had no reason to doubt it. She was the one who did it. Who else would know?
This is wild.
This gets even fucking wilder.
This woman's nuts, man.
Well, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Is this guy crazy stalking farmhand? What's going on? Well, we find out that things changed a lot in the summer of 91, around June. June 16th, 1991, Franny spent the night at Frank's trailer. Okay. According to Franny, what she says, Frank suggested, this is what she says, in a, quote, business-like way, that the two could marry and that he could take over the running of the farm so they could pursue organic farming like she wants to. So Franny said she was interested in working her mother's farm and doing an organic thing rather than leasing it out, but she didn't know shit about farming. And Frank knows everything about farming, but he doesn't have a farm. Seems like a good business arrangement. This is like a 1800s business arrangement.
I have what you need.
I have what you need. You have what I need. So, hey, what the hell?
Let's do it.
Let's dowry up and get this shit done.
You don't like me. I don't like you. We'll do it.
Who cares? I'm out working on the farm. You're in the house doing whatever you do. We'll figure it out. No worry. Make some kolaches and we'll fucking don't worry about it. So now Franny denied that she was interested in marriage or sex with Frank. Okay. She completely denies that to the cops. Never happened. We were never in a relationship. Crazy time. Okay. So they find a note that he has.
Where he details, because they'd like to detail everything they fucking do.
That's the thing.
He's sitting there detailing all the sexual shit they do.
She likes to write notes is the thing. She likes to write notes, receive notes, make notes. So these things tend to stick around is the problem. So they find a note written on Tuesday, June 25th, almost 2 months before the murder, where Franny wrote Dean Frank telling him that the cost of a certificate of sexual health from the University Health Center would be about $103.28, and that this project could cost him over $200.
Who the hell needs that?
She said, this is what she wrote in the letter, quote, "Woo, I was hoping to do this all with blood out of my arm, but they insist they have to," this is capital letters, "they insist they have to make you take your clothes off and spread your legs," and "your" is Y-E-R, by the way, just to make it annoying. Ugh, with a U, and it's long, capital letters. "Makes me sick." Whoa. "I'm telling you, if you're going to do it, I'm telling you this, you're going to do it too. Ick, ick, ick. I know this was the idea to make you do it too, but I mean, you have to take all the same tests I do." That's what she says here.
This is what? She's never been to a gynecologist before?
No, tests, STD tests they're going to have to see. Because she wants to test him. And they said, well, we'll both get tested. So she was clearly interested in a sexual relationship with him. She's going to get tested for it. She said that basically Franny was saying that, maybe she thinks that he's been around a little bit is the thing here. Then later on in the day, she writes another letter to him, continuing, where she says, quote, "I just reread what I wrote yesterday, and I bet I know how you're reacting to it. Bet you're thinking something paranoid, like, gee, she sounds like she wants to back out. Damn it. I'm quite nicely giving you every opportunity to back out. You don't have to look for double meanings in what I write." So if you want to back out, fine, but not me, whatever. So they asked her, what did you mean by any of this? Like, what's going on? So she said, I was trying to give him a chance to back out, hoping he would take it because I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to get involved in any sexual relationship at all. I didn't want him to think and figure out what I was really thinking. I didn't want him to know, and had I never told him that I just wasn't interested in him sexually. I didn't come out and tell him that. I was giving him an opportunity to back out, but I didn't tell him why I wanted him to take it.
That's not what she said.
No, not at all. That's what she then later on in the letter, Franny informs Dean that she has changed her mind about going to summer school all summer and has dropped 2 classes so she could be home from mid-July to late August. Mm-hmm. She invited him to join her in Lincoln for the 4th of July, also in this.
Okay.
Come hang out with me in the 4th. There's parties down there and shit. Yeah. We'll watch the fireworks. So...
Unless she's like trying to imply I have to spread my legs and let him see this icky thing. You want to back out? It's icky.
Yeah.
It's ugh
you don't
down
want
there.
To see it. Oh, ugh. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what.
What is she trying to say?
Oh, it's a goddamn disaster down there, I'll tell you. Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
So he does on July 3rd or 4th, 91, one of the two. Frank goes to Lincoln, Dean does, and stays with Franny at her duplex until July 9th. So they're there for together for days, staying together. Yeah. You don't do that unless you're in a relationship. Right. When both Dean and Franny left Lincoln, they went to Verdigre. The same day, they went to a physician in Verdigre, and he had his blood test done for HIV and syphilis. Okay. So that's what they're testing for, the biggies.
That's tough for a lady. If a lady's got to have her pants down, and then it's just I can stick my arm.
I think I got to stick a thing up your dick for one of those.
Didn't he say blood? Just
blood for HIV, but I don't know
if
syphilis.
I
don't know if they...
That sounds awful.
Thank fuck. Boy, I've never been in the... Yeah,
I've never had that issue.
No.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Fuck yeah. That sounds disturbing. That'll make you keep it in your pants. So now Thompson here, Franny, describes this as the first step in considering a serious relationship with Frank. She said that she was concerned about sexually transmitted diseases because she knew that Dean had been engaged in sexual activity with other women. Yeah. He's 40, so at some point he's probably had sex with another woman. I was concerned, because he was an adult and all. Fine, that's fine. You could be concerned, but that's a weird, I think he's been with someone else. I'm not positive. So Franny calls the doctor's office for the results of the tests, which are negative, and drives to Atkinson to give Frank the results. Look, I'm clean. Look at me. So Franny testified that she was in Atkinson from July 12th through July 15th, and that she stayed at Frank's trailer while she's there.
They fucked.
They're staying the whole time. Oh, yeah. I'm all clean.
I'm clean, too. Let's do it.
Let's get fucking. So now on Tuesday, July 16th, this is the day after that, Franny started a letter to Frank inviting him to accompany her to Chicago for her son's graduation from basic training. Mm-hmm. Okay, she wrote, quote, I know you don't particularly want to see kid graduate, but think about it. Yes, you do. If he does graduate, he'll leave me alone for 4 whole years. This is her son.
Yeah. She calls him kid.
Kid, you'll be so happy for me.
Yeah.
What is this kid? Just a shit to have around? Thanks, Mom.
It's like Bird Box, boy and girl.
Yeah.
She calls it kid.
Kid. So strange.
Well, that's his name.
With a capital K. So
it might be his name.
No, his name's Steven.
Oh, yeah, that's
She just calls him Kid.
I don't know why she does that.
Hey, Kid. I don't know. There's no other kids around, I guess. I don't know.
It's a weird thing to do.
You'll be so happy for me that my child won't be around. I'm finally free of his fucking... So, wow. She also wrote, quote, I put way too much energy into agonizing over letting sex back into my life. Guess it ain't for you, but for me it was the biggest change in my lifestyle imaginable.
How much does she hate sex?
Well, she said apparently she did hate sex, but now she's like, it was a big deal for me to go in there. Now later on, she writes another letter to him saying that she had something a little more fun to write about, but that it was too personal to put in a letter. She informed Frank that she had learned about something, quote, that could be called selfish sex at a California sex clinic. And she thought it was, quote, neat.
She found out about masturbation?
I think she found out about fucking dildos and vibrators and shit. It could be called selfish sex at a California sex clinic, and she thought it was, quote, neat.
I found the neatest sex.
It's real neato when I jam one of these in my vag. I'll tell you what. Nothing neater.
You know how I hate sex with you? I found a way that I really love it.
Now, when I strum my... No, so, she thought it was neat. She promised to tell Dean all about it on Saturday. And then she signed the letter, hugs and ... stuff.
Vibrates.
So, hugs and this crazy sex shit I'm going to show you that I'm real excited about.
Hugs and Morse code, because that's what this taps out.
It's a tap, tap, tap. That's diddle, diddle, diddle. That's what them stand for, see?
Hugs
and you know how it goes. So Jesus Christ. So Franny's back in Atkinson again on July 22nd. Now around this time, Franny told Frank that she wanted to meet his ex-wife and his children. He's got children and an ex-wife and everything. Now, according to Franny, this is just according to Franny, Frank became, quote, very angry and very upset at the request and said he did not want Franny meeting them, which she said made her suspicious. Yeah. So Franny also says that Frank began throwing out strange comments about other women around this time. She said she believed he was trying to bait her into being jealous because she wasn't reacting to him sexually exactly like he wanted her to. This is what she says.
He hates vibrators.
He's like, I just want to plow you. I don't care if you like it. Now... she responded by writing 2 versions of a letter to Frank on July 22nd. Jesus Christ, with these letters. She left one version of the letter at his trailer where it was found after he died, and then the other version was found at her farmhouse. In the version left at the trailer, Franny accused Frank of, quote, jacking with her. Be like, you're the one jacking with yourself, from what I understand. From what I hear that shit coming from the next room. I ain't blind and deaf.
I don't want to be jacking with you. I want to be fucking you.
Yeah, Jesus.
I don't like when we jack together. This is weird.
It's not as fun. So she accused him of, quote, jacking with her, bringing up issues that raised questions in her mind, and refusing to answer her questions in regard to other women. Now, in that letter, she refers several times to her jealousy and informed Frank that his behavior hurt her and, quote, goaded her into more jealousy. So she's into this relationship. They're in a relationship. There's no, she's jealous. This is what people do in relationships. They're talking about sex.
Right.
They're in like a fucking relationship. So she, though, later on will tell the police that she was not jealous at all of Dean because she did not want him and didn't care who wanted him. Okay. That's what she tells the cops. They're like, well, what about this note that says he's, quote, goading you into more jealousy?
Right. Not just into jealousy, more jealousy. Indicating you have some.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, she claims to the cops, I'm, quote, guilty of playing a game, is what she said with Dean when she said she was jealous, in the hope that by feeding his ego and, quote, head patting and sucking up, that he would be complimented and then he would straighten up and be more honest. That's what she's going for.
That's some wild.
That's some kind of theory.
Long leap, man.
That's a big theory.
Why don't you just stop writing and have a fucking talk?
Have a talk. Well,
Jesus
this
Christ.
is, I think, when you're getting interrogated about a shooting, when you're like, well, because he did that, and because I saw him at the grocery store, I figured I should kill his grandma, right? No.
Any therapist will tell you this is some passive aggressive shit, and they need to just have a conversation and clear this shit up, or break up.
Yeah, well,
this is wild.
It gets worse too. Now, Franny further will say that she was, quote, just using the word jealousy in place of the word disgust. Well, you know what? They mean 2 very different things.
They do.
You can't use the words for other words that don't mean the same thing. That's the thing. You can use synonyms in place of words, but if I say I hate you, I can't say, well, I mean to say I like you, but I use the word hate in place of like.
These aren't even antonyms.
They're not even antonyms. That's what I mean. This is
These aren't even opposites to where
they're just saying,
to where you can muddy the water.
No, this is saying I had salad for dinner. I actually had steak, but I said salad for steak. Those aren't the same. They're just different things. I had apples, but I really ate oranges. No, you ate different things. They're just different. So
you were jealous, you were disgusted.
She said, though, but telling someone you're disgusted with them really doesn't get you anywhere, and she's hoping that the word jealousy would.
What?
In other words, I'm not telling him my real feelings, and I'm hoping to get what I want, even though I'm not telling him what I feel or want.
Yeah.
That's not
She's doing nothing for people saying that college makes you smarter.
No shit. Seems to be making her way more deluded. So, Franny then wrote Frank that he had, quote, slapped her upside the head with another woman. That's what she wrote to him. Not actually slapped her, but with another woman. Then refused to answer her questions about the other woman, and that, quote, nothing could be more viciously calculated to make her worry. Later in the letter, she then alluded to another woman Frank had apparently mentioned, and she says this, quote, and that remark last night about some woman's, quote, stuff all over, that sounds gross.
Unless it's like her junk all over his house.
But she's some woman's stuff all over just sounds like she's rubbing her crotch on things.
Dragging her tits on my sofa.
Leaving fucking... Did a slug come through here? What the hell's going on? What the fuck is all over the counter?
Why are your doorknobs sticky?
What is happening? Sorry. So, couldn't help it there. So, she said that was, in the letter, that was doing it again too. Why do you want to do that to me? Now I have to wonder what woman, what stuff, where, here? He told me he had a live-in here. What did she look like? Was I prettier? Was she prettier than I?
Oh boy.
Was she younger?
Oh boy.
What kind of competition is she?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, the insecurity.
When you make me wonder, I wonder. Big time, capital big, by the way, all three letters. I told you, I told / asked you not to talk about other women with me, but there is something more cruel than that even. It is bringing them up and making me wonder and worry, ... I love you and I want to keep you. Oh boy. Now, in the other version of the letter, she accuses him of, she accuses him of other stuff. Now, she accused him of being like sly and evasive rather than being as aggressive as she is in this one. So there are different tones. Mm-hmm. So you take those two and you go, did two different people, I don't know what to respond to.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be like, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, playing devil's advocate, though, there are so many guys that love this.
Oh, yeah,
and they encourage it by doing dumb,
people
shitty
that like
things.
Drama.
They're just calculated, mischievous, and they're just shitbags to women, and they make them do this shit.
Oh, yeah.
Causing the whole crazy
they like
ex-girlfriend
it because then it makes them feel important.
Yeah.
Now, Frank's telephone records show that on July 23rd, he made 2 long-distance calls to Franny's number and talked for 38 minutes one time and 37 minutes another time. Mm-hmm. Franny says later on that Frank had told her he did not think about the letter she had left in his trailer the previous day, and that he had just thrown it in a drawer. Okay. That's what she says. Yeah. So a letter which Franny will testify to later that she wrote on July 23rd was found in his trailer, and it contained 4 paragraphs which, according to the letter, were added after Thompson talked to Dean that night. So this is like she continued the letter later after she talked to him, and it goes a little something like this.
Oh no. She started with one emotion, talked to him, and continued with another.
And there's a different one here.
Oh boy.
So I tried to communicate with you, and you, quote, threw it in a drawer, is what she says. This is definitely a relationship.
Yeah,
like, this is not.
Oh, boy.
This is a, oh, boy.
And it's been happening for a while.
Yeah. That's what I'm worth to you. Oh, boy.
I remember these texts.
We're 2 guys who've been divorced, so that's what I'm worth to you is always going to come up in a divorce. So I guess I was ready for that. I had this written yesterday. Like I said, minimum of hard feelings. I don't need you for an enemy. Sure, sorry I ... ruined our friendship ... You left shit here. Okay.
She's vibing while she writes this.
I think so. That's my ellipses. That's what she calls her vibrator, ellipses. I don't think you'll worry too much about it. Seems you told me you left stuff at bitch's place all over the country. I'm just another one now. Now, the following day, July 24th, Franny writes a letter to her son, informing him that she had a, quote, fatal fight with Frank. Discussing this fatal fight. This is before the murder. Yeah. 3 weeks before. She said, quote, "What was our fatal fight, you wonder?" And she capitalizes fatal fight, like just the F's. Weird. "Oh, it's a long story, kid." So she does call him kid. "I mean, things have been happening since you left. Mommy was naughty, and mommy is paying now." That sounds really... This is one of the creepiest things.
I want to tell you, but it'd be weird for me to tell my son. It'd be super weird.
So I've been fucking the farmhand, right? Then I got this huge dildo, and it vibrates great. And I was like, "You need to fuck me with this." And he's like, "I don't think so." And then we went back and forth. He's like, "There's bitches stuff all over." And I was like, "Ew, it's on the counter." And you don't want to tell your kid that for while he's in the Navy. You know how it is.
"Hey, kid, just want you to know, mommy had her icky parts looked at by a doc."
Still icky. So she says then, quote, "Come to find out that not only very rich old ladies like Grandma need to worry about men romancing them for their money. Dean was trying to romance me for the money and the farm he thought I'd have soon." So she also then speculated of whether Dean was going to give her trouble and that he might harm her pet pig, he might break in, or suggest to others that Fran should be robbed. This is what she says in the letter. She comments numerous times about how worried and scared she was, although she admitted that she often, quote, got overexcited about things and overreacted in the letter as well. I know I always get overexcited and overreact, so I could be doing that, but she also referred to the letter, she also referred to a previous relationship here in the letter. She says, quote, "I remember Ron. I remember lots of violence and threats and evil behavior and how stupid I can be, and I do expect real problems now from Dean too." She stated she was a fool and that her ego was crushed flat. She also then concluded by reassuring her son. This is to her son, not her therapist, not her girlfriend from fucking college, not her son.
She's got bizarre writing tactics.
Get a friend.
Yeah.
Get a fucking friend. Your kid doesn't need to worry about this while he's in the fucking Navy.
Right.
It's not his problem.
He's got to go out there and defend the
Jesus
country while
Christ.
worrying about mom at home.
Fuck me. Don't worry about me now, she says, after all that shit. Passive aggressive as fuck. "Remember, I may whine and cry, but I is a tough old lady and a damn good shot too." So that's something. Yeah. So on July 25th, this just keeps going here, Franny was in Jedlicka's hardware store. Jedlicka's Hardware Hank store. That's what it's called. Okay. Jedlicka's Hardware Hank.
Jedlicka and Hardware Hank. It's our store.
Great. At this time, she purchased 357 shells and inquired about the type of hardware needed to hold a 2x4-inch board against a door to secure it. The owner of the hardware store will later say that he did not have the type of brace requested by her, and he referred her to a welder that could make this metal brace for her. So Franny will say that she had brackets made for an entry doorway sometime in July or August. The brackets are 2x4-inch board. The brackets and a 2x4-inch board were found in place on one of Thompson's doors the day Frank was killed.
Oh, she's trying to, like
that
slide that goes in front of it.
Exactly, like old school, like you're defending a fort,
right?
Like you're defending a barn.
Yeah, the only time you ever see it is when people like put it on a barn.
Yeah, like cowboys are trying to keep the sheriffs out of the barn as they figure out how to regroup and are we going to have a shootout or give it up. So on July 28th, Franny and Dean went to a state park together. Okay. A state conservation officer visited briefly with them as they were leaving, and he'll later say that Franny was sitting in the middle of the front seat of the car next to Frank when they drove away. Not on the bench seat next to him, not over in the passenger side.
That's
50 snuggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's country song down a dirt road.
Yeah.
Get comfy, girl, because I'm going to try to finger you.
That's right here in the car.
Yeah.
Watch out for the bumps. Oh, that one. Bumps will get you, huh? Now
I'm need too close for this one.
Yeah. That same day, Dean gives Franny $300 for her upcoming trip to Chicago. She's got a Chicago trip to see her son graduate from boot camp there.
Because he's clearly in this for the money.
Clearly.
You know what I mean?
Obviously, and for the money. He's giving her money. So Franny then will say that Frank was being pushy that day on the issue of marriage, and that she told him that she would not marry him. She claims that she could not remember Frank's word in response to her rejection of him, but his statement reminded her of an old saying of her mother's to the effect of, "If I can't have you, nobody else will," meaning if you don't marry me, I'll kill you. That's what she said. He said. August 1st, Franny flies to Chicago to see her son graduate from naval boot camp there. Phone records indicate that Franny called Frank Collect 5 times during her 4-day visit in the Chicago area.
Collect.
collect conversations lasting between 9 and 26 minutes. So they like to talk, clearly. They stay in contact.
Yeah.
Now, Franny gets back on August 4th. On the way home, Franny stops and telephones Dean's ex-wife, Betty. Okay. Betty Frank is involved in this now. So Betty Frank said that Franny told her that she and Frank were planning on getting married. She stopped at a fucking phone to call his ex-wife to make sure to tell him that they were getting married.
That's wild.
They're getting married, and she said she wanted to get better acquainted and to discuss with her visitation rights with the kids. She said she was just trying to make I'd like to make all of us get along and have a nice, thing here for your kids. So this is responsible. That's responsible.
That looks good.
That's what people should do. But she's clearly intending on marrying him.
Yeah.
If she's talking to the ex-wife about visitation.
No question.
She's in the family at that point. So, but later on, she says that she'll say that she no longer wanted to discuss visitation rights at the time she called, and that the real purpose was to gather information to find out if Frank meant his threat to kill her the previous week. Mm-hmm. But Betty refused to meet with Franny and hung up on her, is what she says.
What the fuck would Betty know?
Betty doesn't know shit. So she returned to the farm, and she called Frank and talked to him for over an hour and a half. I assume complaining that the ex-wife hung up on her, which he's like, I don't know, I fucking divorced her. I don't like her.
I did something, I never have to have that phone call ever
Jesus
again.
Christ. So August 5th, Franny contacts Dolores Fisher, who is Frank's old girlfriend, who we talked about before.
Oh, the beer nap.
The beer nap, yeah. She lives in Atkinson and arranged to meet with Franny, and so Franny and Dolores are going to meet that day. Franny says that she told Dolores that once he was drunk, Dolores told Franny once that he was drunk, Frank had threatened to slit Fisher's throat. That's what Franny says. So when Dean calls Franny that night, she called him a dirty name and hung up on him, is what she said. So August 5th, Franny writes to her son explaining that she had not been flirting with Frank when she called him from Chicago, but that she was merely postponing because if she could keep Frank hoping, he would not harm her home or her pet pig. So she said she would not. Then she said she would not allow Frank to come over and fix her pig's irrigation pipe, even though he wanted to. She also wrote to her son that she might have, quote, blown her front by refusing to see Frank that evening, but that she could not bear to have Frank drooling and weeping on her. She also wrote that Frank, quote, had a face like a drowning rat. Quote, who could stand it without vomiting?
Wow.
Is she schizophrenic? Like, does she have multiple personalities? That's what she said. Who could stand it without puking? He's gross.
If somebody told me I had a face of a drowning rat, I would be demolished.
And I can't stand it without vomiting.
Unbelievable.
Then later on in the letter, she admitted to her son that she also did kiss Frank and stuff. So I fuck her. She fucks him.
Yeah, she stomachs it for a minute.
Yeah. She also reiterated her belief that Frank was interested in the money she might inherit from her mother rather than, quote, wanting her body as she originally had thought. I thought it was all me, but I guess it's money. She was pleased that she called herself, she said, the honor student, had figured this out before Frank took her for anything, even though it had taken her a month to do so. She also wrote in reference to Frank, then she said, to the contrary, she wrote, I took him. He's been spending a lot of money on me this last month. Serves him right. My single biggest take was the $300 he gave me to fly to Chicago. Sucker. That's what she wrote to her son. If I'm this kid, I'm like, my mother's deranged. I don't even want her letters. This is crazy.
He didn't enlist in the Navy to
get away from her. Yeah,
he's like, anything for 4 years of freedom.
Fuck, maybe I can get to Iraq someday. No, it's not going to happen for Desert Storm's
close,
coming up.
Yeah.
Shit, that one's damn it. Not enough people are dying there. All right, well, okay. Where is it dangerous?
Send me to Bosnia.
Send me somewhere. So
Sarajevo sounds nice.
Beautiful this time of year. It's better than Verdigre. So Franny told her son that the reason she was afraid of Frank was because Frank would be pissed when he figured out that he was getting nothing from her. She thought that he might be able to figure things out with, quote, with his half a brain.
She hates him.
She hates him. However, she concluded, quote, he's a liar and a user and a fool in capital letters, and I ain't that scared of him. I'll just sleep with my 357 tonight, ... grin. Is what she writes. Yeah. That gets her horny.
And the grin.
Sleeping with a 357. So on August 6th, Franny returns to Jedlicka's Hardware Hank and exchanges a box of 357 Max shells suitable for a rifle for a box of 357 Magnum cartridges for her revolver. She fucked up with the wrong ones.
Yeah.
On August 6th, she wrote a letter to a friend in Omaha discussing Dolores Fisher. Franny wrote that she had concluded after meeting and talking to Fisher that Fisher still cared about Frank and still wanted, quote, to do him. Mm-hmm. She wants to do him, I swear. You know Dolores.
God damn it.
This made her, quote, dislike Fisher.
Yeah.
She wrote
it's
to her.
Always a Dolores.
It's always a Dolores. She wrote to her friend, but she could see Fisher's. She wrote to her friend that she could see Fisher's weakness and loneliness, and could see someone having pity on her. She also wrote in the same letter, she refers to Dean Frank as a, quote, classic sociopath.
What?
Hi, Kettle. I'm Pot. Awful nice shade of black you got there. What the fuck are we talking about? Well, what?
Fascinating. We both make tea.
Isn't that wild? Jesus Christ. She wrote that, quote, Frank's mistake was being a false friend to an intelligent and non-desperate lady. Mm-hmm. That's right. August 7th, Dean wrote Franny a letter, which stated, quote, you went downtown, got in a good argument with people, and got slapped around, exclamation point. Too bad you got beat up. I told you my past is dead. Now it's gone, too. You're literally into the wrong world if you believe others. I told you the truth. Love, Dean. Mm-hmm. So apparently she went down she went down to confront some woman about Dean, and this woman apparently slapped the shit out of her. Mm-hmm. So Franny got slapped around in town.
Literally in the wrong world.
In the wrong world. Now, on August 8th, Franny wrote Fisher a letter in which she admitted spending the night with Frank on Sunday, June 16th, but denied that she, quote, took any of her clothes off. Okay? She's like, I fucked him with my clothes on. Why would she tell Dolores this for? Dolores doesn't care. Now, Franny was aware that Fisher had spent the night with Frank in his trailer on a Saturday night in June, perhaps the previous night to Thompson's visit. So, creepy. He's fucking multiple women here. She made the following comments about her relationship with Frank. Quote, you see what happened. Dean started telling me after that he loved me so much that he hadn't been screwing anyone else at all for months. And I was stupid enough to believe that. So I didn't know he was seeing you then, or I sure wouldn't have let him waste my time and backstab you by putting that snow job on me. When I want a houseboy, I'll hire one. I won't have someone pretending to be my friend come sucking up to me and lying to get my money. Oh, boy. So he's got a telephone bill, Frank does, Dean, that says on August 10th he called Franny at 6:40 p.m. and they talked for 213 minutes.
Wow. That was a
fucking conversation.
Not a lot of smiles in that conversation.
That's a 3.5 hour conversation. Jesus. Now, Franny says later on that she doesn't remember that conversation really well, but that she was just giving Frank the opportunity to talk for 3.5 hours.
Not a lot of guys will sit and spew their fucking guts for 3.5 hours.
Considering there's like 2 letters he wrote and 100 she wrote, it seems like she's the talker in this relationship. I'm not sure.
She doesn't remember that conversation very well.
Yeah.
3.5 hours of your day.
That's a lot.
A quarter of your day was spent on the fucking phone.
A shitload. So on August 11th, Dean Frank was at Franny's farm where he fixed the irrigation pipe and moved a refrigerator. Franny says that she told Frank on that day never to come back to her farm, and that Dean wrote out a piece of paper giving Franny all his property which he had stored on her farm, including a 1973 Ford pickup.
Yeah.
Wrote it out. So it's all yours.
We always give those away.
I do all the time. The document and the title to the pickup were found in Franny's kitchen after Frank was killed. Jesus Christ. Did she make him do this like at gunpoint?
What the fuck?
Is that what happened?
Or did she shoot him and go out to the truck and pull it out of the glove box?
That's what I mean, to be like, fill this fucking thing out.
Right.
Sign it over. I don't know, or I'll kill you. I don't know. What the fuck? August 12th, Monday, Franny wrote to her son that she, quote, took a chance by letting Frank come over to help her. She was willing to take a chance because she knew male psychology. Quote, men are too stupid to ever give up. So,
you know how many relationships my mom has told me about? Fucking zero.
Yeah, you shouldn't know about stuff. She just let me tell you another thing. She's writing them letters. I'm in the Navy. Leave me alone. So, having been rebuffed by Betty Frank when she tried to talk to her on August 4th, she then wrote Betty Frank a letter dated August 13th. In that letter, she said that her original purpose in contacting Betty had been to meet her because Thompson and Frank had planned to be married. However, she stated, quote, amazing how quickly things can change. The engagement is off. And Franny told Betty that Dean had been lying to her a lot, and she questioned her about what might happen next. Then she says, quote, how violent is he? He threatened to kill me if I wouldn't marry him, but I think that's a standard threat. Standard threat?
No, it's not.
Marry me or I'll kill you. That's so romantic. Thank you. Very standard. You know, you get down on one knee, you threaten to kill him. You know how it goes. You know how a marriage is. Please tell me if I should.
Everything or nothing.
Yeah, and how much worry about retaliation from him. No one would know of that better than you, I think. At least you are still alive, and that's encouraging.
What?
Jesus. Saturday, August 17th, day before the big event here, Franny wrote a letter to her son in which he stated that Frank had been calling her all week, but she had not told him what she really thought of him. She said, quote, this girlfriend of his that I met in Atkinson, apparently smacked the shit out of her too, told me that he got all drunk before and threatened to slit her throat. And Mrs. Boham told me a few days ago that he used to beat his wife all the time when they lived out here. I don't want that psycho around. I bought a new box of 357 shells and I'm going to load up and practice some this afternoon! Exclamation point. I bought a new box of 25 caliber shells a while back, and if I can find it, I'll give the little guy some exercise too. Wow.
You don't know where you put your ammo?
Yeah. Jesus. Now, a resident of a farm about a quarter mile away says that he heard shots which sounded like someone shooting target practice in the yard over there on Saturday, August 17th. So she's getting her shit going. It sounded to him as if two different calibers of guns were being used because one group of shots was louder than another. 357 and a 25 which sound way different.
She found the box.
She found him. So that evening, Frank calls Franny at 7:06 p.m. They talk for 51 minutes. He called again at 10:12. They talk for 16 minutes. At 10:43, Franny calls the Knox County Sheriff's Office and reports to Don Henry, the chief investigator, a threatening phone call she had received. She says that Henry, the deputy, says that Franny called and said that she'd argued earlier in the week and that Frank had just called and threatened to send the Gats boys out to her place. Not the Gats boys! Oh, no!
Boys with disease?
Oh, they coming!
We know them.
Oh, we know them. The Gats boys, they're famous around these parts. So Franny also told Henry that Dean was angry because she refused to marry him and that Dean had previously threatened her. Henry will say that, testify later, the deputy, that Franny was very calm and matter-of-fact on the telephone and that she did not request that he come out and that he advised her to tape record future threatening conversations. So Frank's records, Dean's records on the phone show he called Thompson at 1:05 a.m. on August 18th and they talked for 13 minutes. She didn't hang up on him. Right. Now, Franny testifies that Frank screamed things at her, threatening to slit her throat for checking on him, shoot her truck full of holes with her in it, burn her house, and butcher her pig. It's a lot of threats. Yeah. However, though, Franny also testified that she didn't believe Frank was an immediate threat because he sounded, quote, drunk out of his mind, and she believed he was at least 2 hours away in Atkinson. So Frank called again at 7:08 a.m. Jesus, this guy doesn't sleep. Franny claims that he repeated his threats, this time in a calm and quiet voice.
Because it's morning.
Frank's telephone records indicate that the call lasted 2 minutes, although Franny testified that it seemed like, quote, Frank had said nasty things to her for a much longer time than 2 minutes. He
called up real early, squinty-eyed. I think I told you I was going to burn your house down.
Did not tell you that.
Kill everybody.
I'm going to do it all.
Murder your pig.
I'm making bacon.
I mean it.
Okay, bye. So then it's 5 hours later, 12-something p.m., that she calls the sheriff's department to report the threatening phone calls. That's how we started with this. She writes on her computer, I called Deputy Waterman at 12:22 noon. That's where we started on this. Okay. So we're back to that part here. So now, Jesus Christ, fucking disaster. She she gets to telling the cops all of this. She's insisting that he was charging her, that he was, threatening her and charging her, and she couldn't stop pulling the trigger. So they charge her based on this with first-degree murder. Because once they found all the letters, they're like, because she's like, we don't have any relationship. I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, well, we found all these letters. And she's like, well, I was kind of lying to him, saying that we were going to get married because I was afraid of him and the thing and blah. Right. It's a little ridiculous. You read the letters. They're in a fucking relationship.
Yeah.
They're together. Come on. Yeah. So she is charged with first-degree murder and use of a firearm to commit a felony in the killing of Frank. They let her out on bail awaiting trial. She can let her out. She's fine. She's good. She's
not dangerous.
She goes to school and stuff. You know how it goes.
She's got a pig.
Oh, her pig needs to be fed.
Right.
So pre-trial here, the district court denies her motion for recusal of the county attorney, which the motion alleged that he was a potential defense witness, which he wasn't. On May 26, 92, she moved for discovery of reports and documents regarding Frank's death prepared by the county attorney. Basically, because the county attorney is also the county coroner in this town, in this county, because it's small.
Right.
So basically,
the assessor and the census man.
She's saying that the prosecutor can't prosecute her because he's the coroner, and that she's going to call him as a witness because he wrote on the paper that it took Frank an hour and a half to die, and these cops are trying to say that I shot him later. Okay. Even though he didn't know that yet, he was just writing based on what he was told. There was no examination, autopsy yet to know when the fuck anything happened. It's pointless either way. So either way, she's in deep shit.
Either way, the prosecuting attorney, can he be called as a witness? He can, right?
If he's in another capacity, yeah. If he's a county coroner and he was there, so it's very confusing. This is why small town shit is fucking weird. You need one person for each job.
Yeah.
You can't have one person doing multiple important jobs. You just can't. Right. I'm sorry. Shit like this happens. So now at trial, Franny admits that Dean had been a perfect gentleman for 6 years, never abused her, didn't do anything. She claims that Sharon Boham had told her of multiple incidents of Frank beating his wife. However, Boham testifies in court that she had told Franny that she had only heard of one incident, which she referred to as hearsay, in which Frank had allegedly shoved his ex-wife. Not he beat her constantly. One time someone told someone who told someone who told me that he shoved her. That's way different from he constantly beat the shit out of her. You shouldn't shove anybody either way. But
they were drunk. They may have just said he loved her. I don't know.
Who the fuck knows? Yeah, this Jesus Christ and this goddamn shit. So Frank's ex-wife, by the way, denied at trial that Dean had ever physically abused her. So Thompson told everybody that this ex-wife directly told her of physical abuse when she didn't. Then, as did Dolores Fisher, Frank's former girlfriend, both testified that Dean became verbally abusive and threatening only when he had been drinking. That's when but he never does anything. He just runs his mouth, basically.
Sits in a chair and mutters.
And he's like, goddamn fucking bitch and shit and goddamn bullshit. I'll kick your fucking ass. And then he's like sleeping 5 minutes later. He's one of those assholes. So Dean's blood alcohol content upon autopsy was 0.000.
Oh, hasn't had a drop.
Not a drop.
Yeah.
The pathologist testified that there would have been very little decrease in blood alcohol content from the time he died to the time of autopsy, because the defense is like, well, I mean, he's bleeding all that blood alcohol out. Wouldn't that make a difference? And they're like, no, it's just whatever's in the sample. It doesn't matter how much he loses or... That doesn't matter.
That's the thing about blood alcohol. It's uniform all across all of it.
They just take a little, and however much is in that little bit, that's how much is in the rest of it. Pretty cool.
We don't need to check all of it.
We need like a drop of it, really.
The drunk blood's in the floorboards.
Yeah, that's drunk blood. Now, Frances here, Franny testifies. She testifies to this whole deal. She testifies, described her relationship with Frank as one of friendship. She said that Frank was a perfect gentleman to her the first 6 years before the killing. She had one time she had rebuffed one of his passes as soon as they became acquainted back in 85. He was like, hey, you want to go out sometime? Or just when they met, and she said, no, thanks, not interested, and never came up again. Perfect gentleman. On June 16th, 91, Franny says she spent the night at Frank's trailer, and according to her, Frank suggested that they, in a business-like way, they get married and pursue organic farming and all of that. But she said that she was never interested in marriage or sex with Frank. Now, she couldn't even remember the words of one threat which she claimed Frank made to her in person. She admitted at trial that she did not understand what he said just before she shot him. Well, she said, he might have said, I'm going to kill you. I don't know. But you know how people, they talk and you just shoot. Right. You just fire off 6 shots from a .357 before you don't go, huh? You know how it works. She wrote to her son that she was not scared of Frank. No one else they could find anywhere testified to being aware of any threats made by Frank against her or anyone else in the towns or any of these towns. She claimed she was frightened of Dean and what he might do to her, and she was in an unlocked house when Dean Frank arrived at the farm. So she's like, I'm a scared single woman, been in the house unlocked by myself. Right. She said at trial, although one of her doors could not be locked from the inside, it could be secured from the outside, which is kind of pointless. And I guess if you have a key lock.
I suppose.
And one could then enter the house and secure the second door from the inside. However, she claimed that this never occurred to her to do that. Because, you'd rather just sit and be in fear rather than figure out how to lock your doors. That's what I do. I don't know how that works. I just leave it open, hope nobody kills me, right?
Well, you secure your entire house and sit on the couch with a gun in your lap.
That's it. Sit there holding the .357, waiting for friends to come through the door.
Just waiting.
Yep. So she said that the court said that she had available non-lethal means to repel Frank's attack, but declined to use them. Mm-hmm. She shot a man a total of 3 times, twice in the back. Because she said also not only did he say something, he was carrying something, which turned out to be a sack of cold cuts.
Right.
He had lunch meat in his hand.
Salami in his hand.
He was putting this in the fridge, and she, what's that? And he was going to come over and kill her with salami in his fucking hand. That's what he was going to do. Hold on. Let me put this roast beef down so I can kick you. No, I feel like she said, can you come here and look at this? And he said, what's going on? Before he put it in the fridge.
You're going to pound your head in with this.
It's weird. It's just fucking pow, pow. You like that? You like that? That's oven roasted turkey. Play that fucking smoked shit.
Chipotle.
What the fuck? So they said although he lay bleeding on the floor for almost an hour before help arrived, Franny did not know how many times she shot him. The only assistance she had rendered in an hour was to put a pillow under his head and give him a glass of water. What a princess there. What a prince. And she's a woman, so princess. Finally, she also, she stated to the sheriff, maybe he wouldn't have done anything to me, but I read where women waited too long to defend or protect themselves. So, wow. They basically say there's no indication she was in danger of death or bodily harm or really anything. He was carrying groceries. He brought her food.
Right.
That's not a usual killer. It's like, I'm going to bring you a bunch of food and then kill you.
Right. That's wild.
Why? I'm going to put it away in your fridge and then kill you.
Right.
Here's turkey. I know, you won't eat it though, because you're going to die.
Right.
Like
I've got my boots off.
It's weird. That's what I mean.
That's not killer mentality.
Exactly. So they're saying that, it just doesn't seem, but she's saying it was, it's, I was scared for my life and all this. Now the jury find out what they say. But before the jury comes back, the night before the verdict, Arthur dies.
Oh, no.
Arthur dies. Apparently, Arthur had gotten very sick.
Yeah.
And basically, she had a decree to her people there that if she was put in prison, as soon as she was put in prison, someone's going to euthanize Arthur because no one's going to take care of him. Or her, I should say.
Yeah.
So apparently this day, she said she was going to have to do it, but she went looking for him, and he had died out in the field on his own because he had been sick for a couple of months.
Well, that's what happens when you kill the man that's been taking care of him.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's been dead because this is August 19th, 1992 is the verdict. So almost exactly a year later.
Wow.
So this pig, who knows if it's
maybe hasn't even eaten in a year.
Who knows if she's been taking care of it. So the next day, though,
Arthur's just eating random shit on the farm.
I don't know. What is that? Fuck it. So
eating half a Ford by now.
He's eating the 73 pickup that he left behind. So this comes in. The verdict comes in August 19th, and the jury finds Franny Thompson guilty of first-degree murder and use of a firearm to commit a felony. Sentencing comes around, and the judge is not too thrilled with her her back and forthing and jiving and juking and jiving on this shit.
Trying to get out of it.
Yeah, trying to, and cheesily too. Not even like with a coherent thing. It's like, well, sort of, maybe I was tricking him. Maybe it's weird. So he says, you, ma'am, may fuck off. For the murder, life in prison for that. And then for the firearm offense, 10 years for that one. So life plus 10 years she's got here. All right. Now, couple of crazy things come up in the appeals we got to talk about quickly here. One of the things is she said that basically that she should have been allowed to present more of a self-defense. She tried to bring up her assault report basically, but then the prosecution's like, but you weren't assaulted by anyone, so you can't just bring up a thing that you wrote that says assault report and say, see, I was assaulted, no one hit you, no one, you didn't even say that before.
Call the police, we have paperwork. We do.
We do there. So then she says, well, it wasn't premeditated, there was no malice or anything like that. Meanwhile, she's, fucking ridiculing all over this. The way they put it, the prosecution, one way in which the jury could infer malice was the defendant felt toward Frank is from the defendant's words in her correspondence with others. The tone of her letters in discussing Frank was contemptuous. Among other things, she referred to him as a fool, a sucker, and a houseboy. On several occasions, she ridiculed his physical appearance. The defendant belittled Frank's intellect while referring frequently to her own superior intelligence and status as a Mensa member and an honor student.
While calling him a drowned rat.
A drowned rat who's also stupid. The jury could also infer from the defendant's acts in the days preceding the killing, as well as the day of the killing, that she killed Frank intentionally and with malice. The day after she had written her son about a fatal fight with Frank is when she purchased the .357, ammo. So that's a problem there. And then she said she wasn't scared of him and all that kind of shit. She said she called him that psycho. She said she was going to load up and practice. All that shit. So, also they said the jury could conclude from evidence of an ashtray full of cigarette butts on top of the fridge in the storage room that she was probably sitting in the storage room waiting for him.
Unreal.
Smoking cigarettes, waiting for him, like fucking Omar on The Wire, scoping out a fucking drug dealer to see what's going on. They cut down always, and he's got a pile of cigarettes around because he's been there for hours scoping it out. He's got patience.
Unbelievable.
That's what's going on here, apparently. A jury could also find that the trajectory of the 3 bullets which were fired into the floor were consistent with those being fired from an area in front of the door to the storage room and not from behind the computer table, as she had claimed earlier. So it's a lot, basically.
So you think she was like behind that door lying in wait, and then he comes in with the food, she bucks off 3 shots, misses him?
That's what it seems like.
And then hits him with that one in the hip, and he goes down.
And then
he laid there while she called the police.
And she possibly got him to sign over pickup trucks to her and shit. And then said, all right, enough waiting, boom.
Oh my God, how cold.
That's the theory based on the science of it. And they talk about here, they said the other thing that we let you know there's malice is the length of time it takes to kill another is evidence from the intent evidence from which the intent of the killer may be inferred. The pathologist who performed the autopsy, Dr. Brad Randall, testified that the gunshot wound to his back shattered the right lobe of his liver, and that such an injury would cause an individual to lose a large amount of blood very quickly. In his opinion, an individual would only live 10 to 15 minutes after suffering a gunshot wound such as he received there, and would probably lose consciousness within 5 to 10 minutes after sustaining the wound. Frank was still breathing and conscious and answering questions when the sheriff's deputies and rescue personnel arrived 50 minutes later. However, only 5 minutes later, he became unresponsive, and so she did that right then. It's perfectly lines up with she shot him 5 minutes before the cops got there. She's like, well, enough of this shit.
Wild.
Crazy. So the evidence of the wound to his upper left abdomen was that he survived for some period, and that wound was sustained. The 2 wounds to his back did not have this characteristic appearance. Additionally, the doctor concluded from the nature of the exit wound in his right chest and the injury to his right elbow and arm, to his right arm, was against or near his body as that bullet passed through him, and this could have occurred if Frank had been lying on the floor with his arm under him when he had been shot. So, yeah, that's That's pretty fucking crazy. These findings led him to believe that 3 gunshot wounds were not all inflicted at the same time in, quote, rapid fire sequence, as the defendant claimed, and that the shot to his right back possibly fired shortly before law enforcement and rescue personnel had come. Remember the 2 high school boys that only heard 2 to 3 shots way back when she shot him the first time and then called the cops. So, yeah, also from these facts, as well as the fact that Frank was apparently able to write a note in blood on the floor, as well as a note on a piece of paper sometime during the course of events, a jury could properly find that she inflicted 3 gunshot wounds on him over a period of time and not in rapid succession, obviously. She considered herself a good shot, and her son testified that she was a good shot. She also had chemical mace and a small caliber handgun ready in there. She chose the .357 though as her,
because that one does the job.
That'll do the job. Yeah. They said that a guy testifies from the Nebraska State Patrol firearms examiner. He says that it's a double action revolver which required 12 pounds of force on the trigger to fire, not semi-automatic or automatic or anything like that. Therefore, it required that much force to fire the bullet because you're making the hammer go back every fucking time, and applying 3 to 3 1/4 pounds of pressure to the trigger each time the weapon was fired if the hammer was pulled back. So the location, nature, and number of wounds inflicted are circumstances from which a jury may draw the inference that the killing was done with deliberate and premeditated malice, which I kind of agree with. Yeah. One more thing she wants to talk about. She is mad because the judge would not admit evidence in her trial of abuse by her ex.
Oh, what?
Because they said, well, that makes no difference to him, though. Yeah. So she wanted to have hey, I was abused before, so it makes me
this time.
Yeah, which they go, that has nothing to do with it, though. You can't. Somebody else's. We can't put someone else's actions and put them responsible on another person and say it's okay that you killed them. Like that state of mind and everything, but it doesn't mean you're not guilty.
That sounds to me like you're not ready for a relationship yet.
Yeah,
if that's something that can trigger you to fucking shoot your husband or boyfriend.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't be in a relationship.
Yeah, she said that she wrote in 1983. Later, the defense submitted an offer of proof of an 11-page report that she had written herself and filed with the Washington County Sheriff's Office in 1983. That report detailed a bizarre 2-day episode in 83 in which Ron Thompson allegedly raped her, held her captive, repeatedly threatened her with surgical mutilation and death.
Wow.
That sounds fucking crazy. But
That's
they said
the guy that died in the construction accident?
Yeah, he died in the Corning accident there, apparently. So, they said, we don't know if that's true, but they said his bad acts are not admissible in someone else's case. Sorry, that's not how that works. Moreover, she said that he behaved as a perfect gentleman for 6 years, so that's a different story. Also, there's a motion for a new trial mixed in with this, saying that basically that she tries to get a new trial, but she files it too late. Yeah. Because it's literally like a 10th day after August 19th when she had to file fell on a Saturday. So the latest date the motion could have been filed in compliance was Monday, and the filing wasn't filed till Wednesday, 2 days late for her new trial appeal thing. So they tell her to go fuck off. But she does say that she has new evidence, so she should get a new trial. She moved for a new evidence, which is the death certificate. She says that's new evidence. The fact that the coroner wrote that he, it was an hour and a half between wounds. Yeah. See, that is different than the guy who did the autopsy. So that's new evidence. Meanwhile, that's just a guy who goes, yup, he's dead. What time? When did he start bleeding? All right, cool, and wrote it down. That's all he did, not a medical examination. So, yeah, she says that the death certificate would have made the county attorney a material witness in her defense and probably resulted in her acquittal, which is not even close.
That's a reach.
I could have gotten a fucking conviction on this fucking case. Jesus Christ. This is pretty fucking open and closed, man. You wrote all these letters. If she didn't write all these letters, she could have said anything she wanted and we would have believed her, but you wrote 1 million fucking letters. I don't know how you expect people to believe any of this shit.
This is why you don't write all your feelings down.
No, that's what I mean. So she is told no new trial. Yeah. She's, her appeal fails. So in 1995, I found here that 1995, she is served with a summons in court here, was served with a summons in jail as a defendant in a civil action to collect a debt from her for her student loans. They want her student loan money.
Fannie Mae coming for you.
Yeah, she filed an answer denying the amounts claimed that she owed to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, claiming the action was not brought in good faith and all sorts of other shit. But it also was alleged specific instances of alleged bad faith by the university. So she filed a motion requesting hearings and all this shit.
They want their money anyway.
They want their money. The problem is the jail has they have no requirement of letting a prisoner out to go to a civil trial.
Really?
To go to a civil, if they're being sued, they can go, tough shit, you're not going to show up and you're going to lose, I guess. Right. They don't have any no obligation to let them out and to go to court for a civil thing.
That seems
none whatsoever up. That's part of it. So basically she wasn't allowed to go to court for it. So there's a judgment entered against her.
She's got a lien
in the amount of $6,874.18,
gaining interest every day.
Oh, I'm sure. So this leads into 1999. I like to call this "Who Wants to Be a Pauper?" because there is a petition to have her deemed a pauper. Has no money in poverty, therefore she can get the state to pay for legal fees and shit like that. She said she's unable to pay the fees and costs or give security required to proceed with the case. She said her average income from prison employment is under $70 a month, and she receives proceeds she receives from workers' compensation are inadequate to bring her above subsistence level and are exempt from attachment, garnishment, or other legal or equitable process, is what they say. Now, the district court issues an order stating, quote, Ms. Thompson has available to her a workers' comp trust fund from which she may pay costs for her numerous appeals from prisonary disciplinary proceedings or prison disciplinary proceedings.
She's an asshole too.
Yeah. The costs involved are minimal. Therefore, I leave to proceed in force. So basically, you're not a pauper. Fuck off. Pay for your own shit, asshole. She's officially later on though it's overturned, and she is officially deemed a pauper, which is something to celebrate. I'm a pauper, everybody. I'm a pauper.
Sounds like a royal title.
Right? Now, there is a Free Fran movement.
What?
Oh, yeah.
How
There's a Free Fran movement. It's environmental people and people who agree with her causes.
Lunatics.
Say that they say that their whole thing is it was a government conspiracy to get rid of her because she was causing problems for them environmentally, and they wanted to get rid of her. Now, one of the sites I found this on was a site that was primarily it's for justice for falsely incarcerated black people.
Yeah.
It's a black and there's a big thing on the top that says end white supremacy now, and it's this, it's for they talk about her. You want to see a picture of her, Jimmy?
I do.
You want to see?
Let's have a look. See.
Why don't you take a little peek right here and
we're gonna need glasses.
Let's take a look at this.
Lily White. Holy shit.
Ginger?
She looks like Neil Young.
Yeah, with ginger hair. I'll post this as a thing, but
oh man, take a look at my life.
It's so fucking weird. That's her at SeaWorld, by the way.
Black man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you.
That's what she wears to SeaWorld. A 10-gallon fucking cowboy hat to SeaWorld.
A big white Alan Jackson hat.
It's crazy. She looks like fucking JR from Dallas in this fucking thing, and she's
over there looking at Shamu
I can see the crowd behind her. There's no other giant cowboy hats. It's only her. So this is what they say on one of the sites.
Yeah.
Quote, Fran's case was highly politicized. Fran had taken on the prosecutor and local government during her activism, organizing against two big projects, the Walden Egg Factory and a nuclear waste facility that would have brought the county big profits. For her commitment to animals and the environment, she was treated harshly in the local courts. She was not allowed to enter a plea of self-defense and received a life sentence without parole. She actually does have parole, but so there's all sorts of people. There's all sorts of people commenting, I did time with Fran. She's awesome. 5 different prisoners were I did time with her and she's a good person. And, I hope she gets out soon.
Wow.
Glad I see her. Now I can get back a hold of her. And then one of the comments was from one of Dean Frank's family on here. And they said, quote, what about the victim's loved ones? I see pictures of Fran smiling. I'll never see like that. that. Now as an adult haunted by depression, learning to do things without the support from a father. You do not deserve to be free. I'm paying the price for the choice you made. God is my witness. He knows the truth. I've been in terrible domestic violence, not only wishing death for that person. Go ahead and smile. Smile for me, the person who has pain so great I simply cannot.
Oh, that poor lady.
That is shit. That sucks, that poor
Wow.
girl. So now Fran got moved around. She was in a facility in Missouri for a while, and they moved her all around. And right now it looks like, from the inmate search, looks like she's in the Nebraska Correction Center for Women at this point. I don't know where that is, but that's where she is.
Nebraska.
In Nebraska, she's serving her life sentence. It says next parole board review date, and I think that's to review to see if you're up for parole, is September of 2023.
Oh,
so
she's got a while.
There is no parole eligibility date set on her parole information, so that's just a review thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See if we can set a date that we can talk about it.
Exactly. So she has been in there a while and doesn't look like she's getting out anytime soon.
Good.
Now, if you are into pigs, because we mentioned the pig and the pig died and adopting pigs. If you're like want to have a pig as a pet,
I'd love
or
it.
you want to support people that do, there is it's called Pigs Peace Sanctuary. And for more information about pigs and pig rescue, contact them. Judy Woods is their director, and it is www.pigspeace, as in peace and love.
Not like a piece
Not
of
a piece of a pig.
Right.
Not like a bacon. Pigspeace.org. You can do that. They're in Washington, and I'm sure they do nice things for pigs. If you like pigs, you can give them a couple bucks or something.
I love them.
That, everybody, is Verdigre, Nebraska. And a fucking
what the hell, man,
mess of a story. So basically, it's just a liar in the end.
Yeah.
It's just a person who was a manipulator and a liar that thought she was smarter than everyone. Her farm was sovereign land.
It's the classic tale of two people bickering so far that you eventually get from you're a cheater and a liar to you got to die.
That's how do you get there?
I mean, listen. I've been in shitty relationships. I know that. I can see.
I never started planning murder.
No,
I've never been like, I'm going to go down to the Hardware Hanks and buy some shells. It's never happened to me.
Thankfully, I've gotten at them before somebody, either of us planned it. But fuck,
no
man,
shit.
I've seen it.
It's crazy.
I know how it gets there.
That is that. Hope you enjoyed that show, because it's a fucking wild one. If you did, I know how you can tell us about it. You can get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars. It'll take you 2 minutes. And you know how long it took to put this shit together?
A lot more than that.
A lot longer than that. So get on there and do that. Help us out. Help out the show. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions, following directions. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything small town murder, all of your merchandise. Get all your crime and sports stuff there as well. If you haven't listened to Crime and Sports, try the last 3, because we are on a hot streak on Crime and Sports like you wouldn't believe. And so get in there, listen to those, catch up, and then you can be in the loop on Crime and Sports. It's a lot of fun. Don't need to like sports. Also listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie every Friday, where we talk about bad romantic comedies, and I lose my fucking mind every week. That's a lot of fun. Other than that, man, if you guys want to help out the show, you can do that very easily. First of all, follow us on social media. We're at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. So follow us all there. But if you want to be a producer of the show, if you want to be in the club that has Jimmy will mess your name up in just a couple of minutes here, and then besides that, you're going to get access to all sorts of stuff. Patreon, bonus material. We put out plenty of bonus stuff. This week's bonus episode is on really strange small towns. There are some weird, creepy, strange small towns. There's one I was telling Jimmy that is just, it is only sex offenders.
Yes.
The only people that live there are sex offenders. It's a whole town made for sex offenders. This is the type of thing we're going to talk about.
Things keep going the way they're going. It's just going to be populated with comedians.
That's it. It's just Crystalia going over to someone else's house.
Heading
how you
on
doing?
over to Louis C.K.'s.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Coffee.
Oh, put your dick away. Hold on a minute, buddy. Wait a second there. Is your daughter here? No, it's not. Hey, you put your dick away. Well, you stop talking about my daughter. And they slam their... That's what's going on here. So check out that. Also, you get access to the whole back catalog, even last year's bonus stuff. Tons of stuff up there, and all the crime and sports stuff there as well.
Yeah.
This week for crime and sports, we did the WWE/F at the time Ring Boy scandal, which is just as gross as it sounds. It's absolutely terrible. So listen about that, some cover up and some scandal, and Vince McMahon tell you to take your shirt off.
He comes around a lot.
That's right. So check all that out and continue to do that. And you can do all of that at patreon.com/crimeinsports. And you can make your donation there. You get all the bonus stuff over the $5 level. And if you just want to be just a wonderful person who's got great karma and gives to shows that they think deserve it, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And that said, Jimmy, man, I'm overwhelmed. And I need to feel some love right now. This is depressing me, this whole thing. Yeah. Give me some love, Jimmy. Hit me with the names of the people who would never shoot us with a .357, wait an hour, and then shoot us again. Give it to me now.
This week's executive producers are James Kowalski, Sheila McGann, Shannon Feltus, Nathan Davidson, Kimberly Radisky, Michelle Hayes, Erica Hawk Silberman. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Jordan Bennett again. Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan.
Cheryl Wright, Chrissy Ann Castaldi. Thank you very much. Rebecca Bodie, Della Reagan Weather, I think. Erica Anderson, Grace Robichaux. No. David Mahi, David James, Britt Smith, Valerie Anderson, Lisa Adams, Cohen McPherson, Kathy Monks, Courtney Cox, and Ashley Scarlett. Thank you all very, very much. Other producers this week are Andrew Lamont, happy birthday, Joey Conway, Ashley Vio, Larry Butterfast, Gara Bedian, Annabelle Jenkins, Shelby Mertens, Caleb Palmer, Thomas Smith, Philip Brady, Trevor Christensen, Graham Wilson, Heba Mosen, Lloyd Settles.
For what?
I don't know. Femininity RL, Lori Cook, Pink Zebra, TJ Mack, Amanda Knight, Sabrina with no last name, Lynn Lomax, Stephen Grieger, Kip Sousley, James Martyr, Liz Vasquez, Sherry McPherson, Brittany Crooks Wood, Caleb Wiener. Sorry, man. Peyton Meadows, Annalie. Sorry, bro. Aniki Halady, I think. Marianne Reffett, Andrea Will, Jordan Gerlach, Gustavo Cheesetoe, Janice Hill, Kristen Bellinger, Helen Barris, Buster Cherry. No, it's not. You fucker. Aaron Gregg, Ethan Stowers.
I saw that one. I was like, Jimmy.
Neil Jones, Card Swank, I think. Cardi. Peter H., Zachary with no last name, Cristobal Ybarra, Gary Denault, Patrick Lewis, Holly Welch, Frankie Fourfingers. Snatch is such a great movie. Richard Rittinger, Victoria Rossborough, Kevin McDonald, Patrick Baker, Hello Bodega Kitty, Chrissy Meek, Brad Davis, Stephanie Igoa, Jackie Sukup, Ben with no last name, Danny Hines, Lucas Castanin, Pete, what did I do? Babness? I've got the word Basness. I think that's Dennis Hannigan, Michael's Fine Clothing and More, not just
and more.
Ramona Holmberg, Andrew Fontaine, Mike Hummel, Raymond Afin Clevenger. Raymond motherfucking Clevenger. That's what it says.
That makes more sense.
Jason Stuck, Peter Melling, Wendy Platter, Melissa Allison Newbold, Linda Denton, Melissa with no last name, Mike Chadwick, Andrew Weil, Neil, Sarah with no last name, Nick Yates, and Tracy Renninger again. Thank you, Jude Kendall, David Oler, Amanda Armstrong, Savannah Preston, Heather Campbell, Shitface McGee, probably not, Caden Putnam, Alyssa Watkins, Zach Damberger, Jose Luis Renteria, Josh Shoffren, Jeffrey Helmer, Travis Douglas, God damn it, Jeffrey Dawson, Guido Van Veen, probably not, Marcy Barnes, Angela Catrikis, Justin Valencia, Brandon Thomas, Lisa Farnham, Jessica Walkowski, Nancy Moxley, Jenna and Daniel, Hannah Zahn, Callie Guzman, Dan Ziolkowski, Sean Burnett,
Dan something Polish. That's that from Night Shift.
Dylan Maloney, Loran, Stephen Southward.
Aaron Lehman, Nancy Pierce, Kevin Danner, Molly Kaufman, Jose Cabrera, Mary with no last name, Timothy Burleson, Dakota Hetus, Harry Seward. That sounds like Harry Cunt. It's probably not.
Probably on purpose.
Okay. Brett Whiteside, Dakota Heidus. I said that. Jennifer Lucky, Molly Flowers, Theo Holtman, Emily Trout, Fabiana Barrett, Camille Johnson, Charity Mullen, Camille, my wife Camille, Melanie Flight.
That's Jimmy's impression of a rapist.
My wife Camille knows that I like the children.
It's a rapist.
Melanie Flight, I said that. Charity Mullen, Camille Johnson. Damn it. Brian Fry, Sound Bite. No. Matthew Glencoe, Alfredo Hernandez, Jesse Lewis, Ryan Davis, Carly Farrar, Robert Gwynn, Hunter Drummer. Ashley Yost, Jennifer Haley, Hall, I think, Brandy Cobb, Chuck Seckinger, Kayla Rip, Ethan Krenzer, no, M. Toulon, Ebony Wiggins, Sam Bilbrey, Joshua Miller, Sam Little, Kate Manning, Scott Griffith, Carly Burnham, Jennifer Gooch, I'm sorry, Robo Suze, Aaron Marsalis Posey, Jenny with no last name, Steph Parks, Conlapa. No, I don't know. Jesse Vaughn, Alberto with no last name, Alice Thompson, Michaela Bassett. Over in Florida, our lady that is our bodyguard down there. I'm not going to say her name.
I love her.
She's always packing.
I love her.
Thank you so much for your sweet emails.
Hell
I appreciate it. Kenny Peace.
It's my lady right there.
Cesar Tapia, what does this say? He's a medically retired Marine.
Cool.
And, what I wrote looks like something way worse.
I know exactly where you were going.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, Cesar, for serving. And I'm sorry that I almost called you something way worse. Leanne Edwards, Christine.
Yeah, be careful in the state of Florida. You want to bum rush the stage in the state of Florida, a woman will shoot you. Guaranteed.
Ross Hetherington, Karen Parker, Amy Easton, Steph D, Nick Giersbeck, Bill R, Marnie King, Tony Francisco, Kate Nicholas, Brandon Tillotson, Catherine Butterfield, Sandra Watkins, Jazz and Zeke Brock, Jacinta Edmonds, Ann Chambers, Jake Hurst, Tabitha McClary, Terry with no last name, Colin Breguire, Matt Henslin. If I go slower, I can get better. Lauren Pollock, Kimberly Weekly, Cameron Monk, Micah Shy, Avalon Guarino, Laura Guaretti. No, I don't go slower. Don't watch The Wire, Jimmy, Caitlin Elisi, your boy Damron, Bella Co. Crompeacher. No, faster is better. Kim Sims Budnick, Chris Ingersoll.
Don't give your brain time to process this shit, Jimmy.
Peyton Duncan, Leah New, Nathan Smith, Samantha Imanis, Sherry Giemza, Robin with no last name, Erica Knight, Claire Stewart, her son Lucio rides the train in New York and used to Snapchat me all the time.
Oh, cool.
He has listened to us all 4 years of high school, and he's graduating high school.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Lucio.
Definitely.
Fucking go make us proud, change the world. Travis with no last name.
Just don't get arrested, please.
Truly don't. Flavia Lee, what is that? Flatvia? No, Flatula Lee Roth. That's not real. And Jessica Baker. You guys, thank you so much for everything you do for us. We can't do it without you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we cannot do this without you, and you guys are extra important, especially we can't go on the road. So every time you give us, that just is huge to us. We're how we're making our living because of the road is not there right now. Exactly. So that's our normally how we do that. So thank you guys for everything that you do for us, and just even if you tell people about the show, that's amazing, and thank you for that.
It's really mind-blowing.
We appreciate the shit out of it, really. What if they wanted to thank you, Jimmy? Yeah. How could it be done? Is it possible?
Yeah, that Whisman sucks, WHISMAN sucks on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so much. Also, Tim Dudley had a baby. He didn't have a baby.
Well,
his baby had a baby.
That's why we're telling you, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
Shot it right out of himself.
Tim, one of your kids
congrats,
got fucked.
Brother.
Congratulations.
Hey, well, or did the fucking one of the two.
Welcome to this fucked up world, Athena Rose.
There you
Isn't
go.
it awful?
Good stuff.
Where can they find you?
You can find me at Jimmie P is funny, or just copy and paste my name. You don't know how to spell it, so you'll just copy it, and that'll be great. That said, holy shit, thank you guys so much for joining us, and until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.